Chapter 2666. The Bai Clan. The clan lived in a place where they used to live. There was a docking area on the outskirts of the mountain range. This was where Meng Luo's warship landed. Winnie and Su Lu also landed their warships in the docking area. When the cabin door opened, a marquis, followed by several marshals and counts, walked up to Meng Luo. "Miss Meng Luo." With that, they bowed to the monarch-level guards behind Meng Luo. This was necessary etiquette. It was only natural for juniors to greet their seniors. However, when they saw Aylin and Winnie, their gazes froze. Meng Luo came here all the time. Almost all of the Bayou family members recognized her guards. The two dukes were unfamiliar, but as juniors, they still greeted Aylin and Winnie respectfully. "Where's Big Sister Bayou?" asked Meng Luo. "She's at the mountain resort. Young Master Flame Rat and Miss Hua Jianro are both there." The Marquis smiled. "Are there guests?" Meng Luo looked at the docked warship and arched her brows, then circled it. "That warship looks pretty high class. The guests aren't ordinary." "That's right." The Marquis smiled and nodded. "It seems an old friend of the clan heads has come to visit." "Uncle Bai's friend? Isn't that a hegemon?" "That's right. What are they here for?" Meng Luo seemed to have a million questions. From her expression, it was clear that she cared deeply about Bayou's family. "I don't know about that." The Marquis smiled and shook his head. "All right, then keep busy. I'll go in and find Big Sister Bayou myself. No need to worry about us." Meng Luo grabbed Yi Zichen's arm and led him inside. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen felt a murderous glare from behind him, and an oppressive chill rose from beneath his feet. He didn't even need to think to know that it was definitely Su Lu Er's. She was his sister-in-law. Although Yi Zichen had plenty of women by his side, that was already set in stone. She couldn't care less. Now, he was even hugging Meng Luo. How could Su Lu as his older sister, be happy? "Meng Luo, let's go as usual." He hurriedly let go of Meng Luo's arm, then grinned at Su Lu. This sister-in-law was not someone to be trifled with. If he really provoked her, she would throw an ice star at him. Oh. Meng Luo seemed a bit unhappy. She snuck a peek at Su Lu and wrinkled her nose in annoyance. Su Lu couldn't be bothered to bicker with this brat. There was no response at all. His eyes were as cold as ever. He actually ignored her. Meng Luo was immediately displeased, and she frowned. "I'll go in with Brother Yezi. Don't let them in." "Stop fooling around." Yi Zichen patted Meng Luo's head. "Do you want me to die?" "Oh." Meng Luo muttered dejectedly, then glanced at Su Lu. "Then let's go together." The road was winding. Even though it was a little long, he could still feel the birds and the fragrance of the flowers again. It was a pleasant feeling that belonged to nature. "Great God, is she going to the ancestral dragon clan too?" "Of course she's going." Yi Zichen shrugged. "Why else would she come here?" "All right then." Meng Luo didn't say anything else. She simply shrugged. "She's cold. Big Sister Luer is just like that. She's of the ice element, a master of the ice element." Yi Zichen laughed. "How much longer do we have to walk? Why don't we just fly over? There are seals up there." Meng Luo glanced up at the transparent sky. "There are seals all around Big Sister Bayou's house. If we fly, they'll be triggered. Even a hegemon would have to walk here. So overbearing." Yi Zichen arched his brows. "Of course, this is the Bai family estate," Meng Luo said matter-of-factly. "Even a supreme expert has to give us some face. I heard that the Blue Emperor came here last time, but he also walked. Is that so? The Blue Emperor came before?" "That's normal. Our hidden Emperor Planet's clans are pretty close to the Virtual World Corporation and the Universe Union Bank." Meng Luo wasn't too surprised. "When Li and the Blue Emperor came to my house too. They're bound to visit." Zhao Xian silently gave her a thumbs up. The fact that they could hang out with supreme experts like Wen Li and the Blue Emperor was enough to show just how important Meng Luo's clans were. Clans like that, even among first-rate clans, they were bound to be at the top. Yi Zichen thought about it. He was pretty lucky. He'd run into them when he arrived in the second universe. They'd been so generous, Yi Zichen had assumed they were the heirs of some great clan, perhaps like Steelbar. Who would have guessed? They were the 4 ancestors of planet Een, and he just so happened to be on good terms with them. Thank the second universe. Without the second universe, it really would have been impossible for him to get to know ancestors of their level. Meng Luo smiled innocently when she saw Yi Zichen's thumbs up. Great deity, there's actually something I've always been curious about. Speak. Are you really the reincarnation of the Master of the Galaxy? Meng Luo's eyes were filled with confusion. If you're the reincarnation of the Master of the Galaxy, why are you interacting with children like us? No. There was nothing to hide from Meng Luo and the others. What's more, Meng Luo and the other families should know that Yi Zichen wasn't the true Master of the Milky Way. Therefore, there was no need to hide this kind of thing. If he told the truth, he would leave a good impression. You're not? Oh, that's great. Meng Luo let out a sigh of relief. You scared me to death. What happened? If you were the Master of the Galaxy, I would feel a lot of pressure. Meng Luo wrinkled her nose. The Master of the Milky Way is a senior. He holds a high position in the entire human universe. Coming into contact with such a person, I'm sure you'll be afraid. What's there to be afraid of? The Master of the Galaxy doesn't eat people. Anyway, it's best if you're not the Master of the Galaxy. The Flame Rat said a few days ago that if you were the Master of the Galaxy, he wouldn't play with you anymore. He said it was too stressful. Meng Luo smiled. Then, great God, you must have a close relationship with the Master of the Galaxy. Otherwise, why would he give you the elemental sprite? Yes, that's right. Yi Zichen nodded. Then who's he to you? Meng Luo asked in a testing manner, then pursed her lips. You? Are you the Master of the Galaxy's illegitimate child? Huh? Yi Zichen was instantly stunned. He stood there for a long time, unable to react. What did you just say? Illegitimate child? Who taught you that phrase? Chapter 2667. An illegitimate child was born. When Yi Zichen saw Meng Luo's innocent face, he knew that it was definitely Hua Jianrou who said it. Did Hua Jianrou tell you? Yeah. I knew it. Among the 4 ancestors, Hua Jianrou was the oldest and the least proper. Bai definitely wasn't the type to talk behind someone's back. Meng Luo was naive. The Flame Rat was more obedient. Only Hua Jianrou. Don't listen to her nonsense. Don't play with her too much in the future. She's going to lead you astray. Yi Zichen reminded. Sister Hua is very nice. What's so good about her? Gossiping behind his back, calling him an illegitimate child. How much longer until we get to the mountain resort? Soon. Meng Luo pursed her lips. Then what is your relationship with the Master of the Galaxy? He's half a teacher to me. About half an hour later, Yi Zichen and company passed through the mountains, then arrived at an empty space by a small path between 2 cliffs. It was surrounded by mountains. Surrounded by water, it looked like a lake. In the middle of the lake, a villa stood on the lake. The main entrance to the lake was connected to a wooden bridge that led to the shore where Yi Zichen and the others were. We're here. Not bad. Yi Zichen nodded. Who built it? Sister Bai Yu. Meng Luo replied with a smile. Is that so? After entering the villa, they saw the Flame Rat and Hua Jianrou sitting on the wooden bridge fishing. Bai Yu was standing behind them, watching silently. Sister Bai Yu, Meng Luo shouted with a smile. The Flame Rat and Hua Jianrou, who were fishing, turned around. Bai Yu also turned around and saw Yi Zichen, who was standing on the side. Guru! The Flame Rat smiled in surprise. At first, he wanted to charge forward, but then he remembered that Yi Zichen was the Master of the Milky Way, so he stopped in the middle. Ayaya! Isn't this our great master of the galaxy? Hua Jianro, who had thrown down her fishing rod, grabbed her belt and swaggered over. Before he could take 2 steps, Yi Zichen pressed down on his head. Why are you so talkative? What are you doing? Show some respect. Even if you are the master of the galaxy, I am not an ordinary person. Hua Jianro shouted. Illegitimate child? You said so? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, as if he wanted to devour someone. Did I say that? Hua Jianro grinned. She smiled sheepishly as she glared at Meng Luo and winked at her. It had to be Meng Luo. Don't scare Meng Luo. Yi Zichen reached out and turned her head around. You're really annoying. Back when I was selling resources in the Milky Way, you bought the least, but you talk the most. Our family doesn't have money. Hua Jianro glared. Then tell me about illegitimate children. Yi Zichen frowned. How did I become the master of the galaxy's illegitimate child? Whose illegitimate child? Leader Wen Li. The flame rat spoke. Do you want to die? Hua Jianro kicked the flame rat. Hearing the flame rat's words, Yi Zichen's hand, which was holding Hua Jianro, stiffened. Hua Jianro, you really dare to say that? I'm just saying it in private. Hua Jianro smiled. It's not like there's anything wrong with gossiping. You dragged Wen Li into this? Gossiping? If Hua Jianro's family was destroyed, then Yi Zichen would most likely be gone because of what she said. The Master of the Galaxy and Leader Wen Li did have an ambiguous relationship. But something like illegitimate children. Nonsense. They might even be exterminated. You really are seeking death. Yi Zichen knocked her head. Let me explain it to you seriously. The Master of the Galaxy is half a teacher to me. After the Milky Way galaxy was destroyed, I was the person he chose to inherit his legacy. With that, the gazes of the country lords behind Meng Luo towards Yi Zichen changed slightly. Inherit the legacy of the Master of the Galaxy. It was very possible that he would become the next Master of the Galaxy. What's more, he was already the Master of the Galaxy, and had the support of the Virtual World Corporation and the Universe Union Bank. His future was limitless. Student. Hua Jianro was stunned, then looked very depressed. Hurry up and give up on your dangerous thoughts. Yi Zichen even doubted whether taking her to the ancestral dragon clan was the right decision. If she said something she shouldn't. What's the big deal? Hua Jianro said indifferently. All right, let's talk about other things on our way, said Yi Zichen. Then he pointed at Su Lu. Let me introduce you. This is Su Lu. She's also going with us to the ancestral dragon clan. By you. Flame Rat. Hua Jianro. Meng Luo. The 4 ancestors of planet Yin spoke up one after another. Su Lu nodded coldly as usual. What a cold sister, muttered the Flame Rat. Right? She's so mean. She won't even let me touch the great goddess. Meng Luo muttered as well. It's starting again. As Meng Luo muttered, Yi Zichen acted as if he hadn't heard anything and continued his introductions. Winnie, Duke level. Aylin, Duke level. The 2 of them are our guards, but they are not servants. You guys have to be more polite to them, Wang Chong said. Yi Zichen pointed at Aylin and Winnie. Don't worry, great goddess, we won't do that. The Flame Rat smiled. I don't worry about you guys, it's just that some people. What's wrong with me? Hua Jianro glared at him. I'm very nice to the people of my clan. I'm not spoiled. I respect them a lot, okay? I'm not talking about you, Yi Zichen shrugged. Yi Zichen shrugged. Hua Jianro instantly clenched her fist in anger. That's our setup. You guys already told the people of your clan, right? Can't we go? At that moment, the king behind Meng Luo asked. No, I only have 10 spots and the guards cannot exceed Duke level. Yi Zichen shook his head. I'm really sorry. Then we can escort you to. No. Yi Zichen shook his head again. The test has already started. I already accepted the first trial mission on the way here. There might be a second and third mission along the way. If you guys go together, then you'll be ruining the test. Don't worry, there won't be any problems, Meng Luo smiled. Meng Luo smiled in relief. The Almighty is very strong. But young lady. What, even the Milky Way lords can go, Big Sister Bai Yu, Big Sister Hua Jianro and the Flame Rat can go. Am I nobler than them? What's more, I already told my dad, he agreed. Young lady you. Don't say any more, you can't change my decision. What? Do you want to make the decision for me? Chapter 2668. This wasn't Yi Zichen's first time seeing Meng Luo like this. It was as if hidden beneath her little lowly exterior was a soul capable of dominating the world. Countless monarch-level guards stood in front of her. For a long while, none of them spoke. Don't worry, said Meng Luo. At this moment, Meng Luo stuck out her tongue and said with a smile, the elders in the clan have said that there's no problem. I know you're worried about me, but it's okay. Young miss. Don't worry, do you not trust my dad? Meng Luo shook the country lord's arm like a spoiled child. Uncle Xian, don't get angry at my attitude just now. I won't. The country lord shook his head. I knew it. Meng Luo pursed her lips and smiled sweetly. Then she sighed and scratched her head. I'm still not used to being domineering. This sudden turn of events left Yi Zichen dumbfounded. He glanced at the flame rats and saw that they were astonished by Meng Luo's attitude as well. Aya, why are you looking at me like that? I don't want to be like this either, but my dad said I need to inherit the family. I have to learn to be strong. But that doesn't suit me at all. Meng Luo seemed somewhat dejected. She drooped her head in exhaustion. I don't like being mean to others. The clan head is doing this for your own good, said the country lord Meng Luo called Uncle Xian. In the future, young miss will need to lead the spirit rabbit lineage. I'll do my best. Meng Luo pursed her lips. Everyone else watched this scene silently, but no one said a word. Since we can't go with you, we'll be going back first, said Uncle Xian. Meng Luo smiled and nodded. All right. Right, don't forget Azure Wood's 10 million primal chaos. Yes, sir. The monarch-level guards all left. Finally, the flame rat arched his brows. Does General Azure Wood owe you money? No, he owes the great god money. Then, Meng Luo recounted what had happened outside Planet Een to the flame rat and the others. Damn, he's got guts. Someone who dares to accept 10 million primal chaos should be killed. Looks like I'll have to teach those families on Planet Een a lesson in the future. Hua Jianro glared angrily at Yi Zichen and raised her eyebrows. Yi, don't worry, Aoki and his family won't dare to do anything to you, but if they dare, I'll teach them a lesson. Yes, great God, don't worry, we're here. The flame rat also nodded. This was the confidence of a descendant of a large family. Even though Greenwood was a kingdom lord. In the universe, this was already a very high level of power. Unfortunately, on Planet Een, he wasn't much. Take Meng Luo for example. Her guards consisted of 6 monarch-level experts. One could imagine how powerful her family was. With Greenwood's strength, even if he went to their family, he would only be a guard. If such a clan wanted to deal with him, it would be too easy. I have nothing to worry about. The Milky Way is so far away from Planet Een. Can he still attack my Milky Way? Yi Zichen shrugged with a smile. I'm actually worried for him. He probably won't have a good time after being targeted by you ancestors. He deserves it. Hua Jianro snorted. I know, the flame rat nodded. He actually dared to bully the great god. It's one thing if it was anyone else, but bullying the great god is... Fine my ass. Hua Jianro patted the flame rat's head. This kind of thing cannot be done to anyone. This kind of behavior of his is wrong, and he should be controlled. Awoo. Yi Zichen listened to their united hatred for a common enemy, but he noticed that Bai Yu hadn't said a single word. Furthermore, it seemed like she had something on her mind. Bai Yu, what's wrong? Nothing. Bai Yu returned to her senses. I'm fine. You guys talk. What are you talking about? We have to go. There was a time limit to their trip to the ancestral dragon clan. What they had to do now was head there as soon as possible. As for the Steel clan, he didn't plan on going there. He would inform Ba-Er and Bei-Yu about it later. Who knew if there would be a second or third trial along the way? If there was, he wouldn't have time to pick up Ba-Er and Bei-Yu. Now? Hua Jianrou was startled. You just arrived on planet Een. Aren't you going to stay for a few days? I don't have time to play, Yi Zichen asked. All right then. Hua Jianrou did not insist on it. She had already told her family about it. What was even more surprising was that none of the family elders who'd previously forbidden her from leaving planet Een had objected. They all supported her following Yi Zichen to the ancestral dragon clan. Leaving planet Een was naturally a good thing. Since her birth, the number of times she had left planet Een could be counted on one hand. Are you in a hurry? At that moment, Bai-Yu furrowed his brows. You didn't handle it well? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows when he heard Bai-Yu's tone. I'm not really in a hurry, but I don't know what will happen along the way, so it's best to hurry up. Do you have anything else to say? It wasn't me. Before Bai-Yu could even finish speaking, outside the mountain villa, several monarch-level experts walked in. When he saw them, Bai-Yu couldn't help but sigh. They're here for you? Hua Jianrou tilted her head at Bai-Yu as if she didn't know. Bai-Yu nodded silently and pursed his lips. They're here for me? It seems like some of the monarchs aren't from your family. Hua Jianrou placed her hand on her forehead and gazed into the distance. I should know all of your family's monarchs and above. They're indeed not from my family. Bai-Yu nodded. Is it that guest? Meng Luo recalled the warship docked outside. When I arrived, I saw a warship docked outside. It looked very high class, even better than mine. A guest? Why didn't we know? Hua Jianrou and the flame rat were both confused. Bai-Yu bit his lips and looked towards Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen. Can I ask you for a favor? Go ahead. Yi Zichen nodded. Not long later, he glared at Bai-Yu. Are you sure? Please. Bai-Yu's expression was somewhat pleading. Sure. Yi Zichen hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Seeing him agree, Bai-Yu seemed to feel a bit more confident. What are you guys talking about? Why are you being so mysterious? Hua Jianrou, the flame rat and Meng Luo's eyes were filled with curiosity. At that moment, the monarchs arrived in front of Bai-Yu. Young lady, the clan head invites you over. Chapter 2669. Let's go. Facing the monarch who came to notify Bai-Yu. Bai-Yu didn't even glance at them, nor did she ask any questions. It was as if she already knew what was going to happen. He nodded towards Yi Zichen and company. Thus, Bai-Yu prepared to leave the mountain villa. Miss, the chief wants you to go by yourself. Yi Zichen and company reminded Bai-Yu when they saw that the country lord level expert was about to die. Why does Little White want to go alone? Before anyone else could speak, Hua Jianrou had already walked up and frowned at this monarch. I know you. Your third brother's man. Miss Hua Jianrou, please watch your words. The monarch-level expert frowned. Third elder, you are not someone you can be so impudent. What? Are you trying to scare me? Hua Jianrou pouted and spread her hands, staring straight at the monarch in front of her. Are you going to hit me? I wouldn't dare. If you don't dare, then hurry up and make way for me. Hua Jianrou twisted her neck. Bai-Yu and I are good sisters. We all grew up with Bai-Yu. Bai-Yu's father also treats us like his own children. Can't we go and greet him? There are guests in the front hall. The monarch frowned. How interesting. Hua Jianrou narrowed her eyes, tilted her head, and smiled at the king in front of her. Is there a guest in this world that I, Hua Jianrou, cannot meet? Who do you think I am? I am the next clan leader of Hua clan. Who can't I meet? The king-level expert was rendered speechless. He furrowed his brows and glanced at Meng Luo and the others. Why are you looking at them? You know everyone here. Do you need me to introduce you to Meng Luo and the Flame Rat? They are the future successors of their clans. As for this one, Hua Jianrou pointed towards Yi Zichen. The Milky Way Overlord doesn't have the right to meet that so-called VIP? Get out of my way. Today we're going with Baiyu. Let's see who dares to stop us. Whether it was his words, expression, or attitude, Hua Jianrou was very domineering. She raised her hand and pushed the middle-aged monarch, but the monarch didn't dare to resist at all. Mississippi, the clan leader wants you to go by yourself. I'm going by myself. Baiyu turned around and glanced at him, but Hua Jianrou and the others are my friends, not my subordinates. I have no right to make decisions for them. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone from the mountain resort left the wooden bridge. On the way to the front hall, Hua Jianrou glanced back and saw that those people had been following them. Baiyu, what's going on? Why are the people who came to find you under third brother? Why didn't your father's people come personally? And those few, they're not your third uncle's men, nor are they from your family. Who are they? It's a little special. Baiyu bit his lip. You have to say it's special. Hua Jianrou frowned. Is your father in trouble? Your third uncle wants to usurp the throne? Just tell us. Our families have been friends for generations. With our relationship, we will definitely help you. It's not what you think. Baiyu pursed his lips. Then, tell us. Hua Jianrou was extremely anxious. You're not saying anything. Aren't you making us anxious? I'm an adult. Under Hua Jianrou's continuous questioning, Baiyu let out a deep breath. You're an adult. We're adults too. Flame Rat Meng Luo, who's not an adult. Everyone. At this moment, Hua Jianrou suddenly froze. She looked down at Baiyu's biting lip and her gaze. Whose family is it? Your third uncle found them for you? Logically speaking, your family shouldn't need to do this. Baiyu lowered his head silently and didn't reply. Hua Jianrou, who had guessed it, didn't continue shouting. She turned around and looked at the few kings behind them with a frown. It's my fault. If only I was a man. What do you mean? I'm a man. Flame Rat spoke up. Can I help? What can you help? Isn't Baiyu your sister? Yes. Then what are you talking about? Hua Jianrou rolled her eyes. Meng Luo tilted her head and revealed a curious look. Just what happened? Don't worry about it. Hua Jianrou waved her hand and walked in front of Yi Zichen. Grit your teeth and endure it. I'll give you a heads up, the pressure you'll face will definitely not be small. The Baiyu family isn't a normal family, the people that can come here are definitely not simple. As long as you can endure it, I Hua Jianrou will owe you one. Do you know why Baiyu came to find me? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. I have a rough idea. Hua Jianrou nodded. Hua Jianrou nodded. I've experienced something similar before, but at the time, I was willing. Baiyu didn't seem to like it. Your family is already so big, does it need to be like that? You will understand in the future. Sometimes, being a big family doesn't mean that you have the right to choose. The bigger the family, the more they have to consider. Hua Jianrou let out a long sigh. But logically speaking, Baiyu shouldn't be doing something like this. She is the divine lady with the divine fire spiritual seed, and the eldest daughter of the first wife of the clan head. Something like this should normally be done by branch family members. Anyways, it can be seen from this that the person that came isn't simple. My Milky Way Lord can't handle it? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. It might be easier if your teacher was still here, but now it's just you. You only have the Milky Way galaxy, and you don't have the ability to protect the Milky Way galaxy, so the result is hard to say. Hua Jianrou squinted her eyes. Hua Jianrou narrowed her eyes and said, Don't worry, I will help you. How will you help me? You'll know when the time comes. You just need to handle it. Hua Jianrou squinted her eyes and looked at the king. Hua Jianrou narrowed her eyes and looked at the king behind her. I can tell that third brother is doing this on purpose. I've always disliked this brat. Maybe he's planning something by doing this. Is this a family competition? It can be that intense, Hua Jianro nodded. OL3 is Bai Yu's third uncle. He has always wanted the position of clan head. What's more, his son also has a spiritual seed. I understand. Actually, Hua Jianro's thoughts were a bit off. What OL3 was doing seemed more like he was clearing the obstacles for his son. As they spoke, they arrived in front of a building. Just as they were about to enter the building, Bai Yu let out a soft sigh, then turned around to look at Yi Zichen. When she saw Yi Zichen nod towards her, she also clenched her fist and slowly walked towards the entrance. Chapter 2670. The front hall was made of pure wood. There was even a stream flowing in the middle. Not only that, but there was also a lot of green vegetation. It was clear that when the front hall was being built, the Bai clan intentionally did not destroy the ecology of the place, and left it in its most pristine state. The only difference was that there was a man-made structure here. Even so, it did not affect the beauty of the original ecology. It was strange. The Bai clan was a clan that utilized fire, and the descendants of the clan were mostly masters of the fire element. However, ever since Yi Zichen arrived at the Bai clan, he saw water. Bai Yu's mountain villa was like that, and the front hall was the same. Most of the buildings were made of pure wood. However, their fundamental fire could not be felt here at all. Yi Zichen would not be able to tell that the Bai clan was a fire elemental family just by looking at the buildings. The front hall was very long. When Yi Zichen and company followed Bai Yu into the front hall, they even passed a 10-meter-long bridge. As they moved forward, they could sense several surging auras coming toward them from afar. If Yi Zichen was right, there were at least 6 of them. The feeling they gave him was similar to that of the Spirit Phoenix supremacy. In other words, there might be more than 6 seniors at the venerable level or above waiting for them ahead. Sovereigns. Even without the auras, Yi Zichen could roughly guess who they were. The people who came to find them were all monarchs, so it was easy to imagine what kind of experts they were sitting in there. Sovereigns were the most basic, right? It seems like it really is as Hua Jianro said, it won't be easy. Yi Zichen wasn't sure if he could handle the pressure from several sovereigns. Approximately half a minute later, they finally arrived at their destination after crossing the bridge. It was a place that looked like an alley. There were 2 chairs facing the entrance, and a wooden table in the middle. There were people on the chairs. One of them was a handsome man who looked almost the same as Bai Yu. He had long silver hair. At that moment, he had his eyes closed, as if he wanted to fuse with everything around him. It was like a beautiful painting. There was also a middle-aged man sitting on the chair beside him. Compared to the handsomeness of the previous man, this middle-aged man was much rougher. A full beard was the most basic feature. His arms and neck were covered with long golden hair, and there were many wrinkles around his eyebrows. Just by sitting there, he exuded a dignified aura, like a lion. On both sides of the alley sat 2 men and a woman, and 2 women and a man. The 2 men and 1 woman on the left all had a flame brand between their eyebrows. The man looked similar to the handsome man from before, but he looked slightly older. The other one was a middle-aged uncle. From the inside out, he emitted a fiery, tyrannical aura, giving off the feeling that he could fly into a rage in the next second, but he was currently suppressing it. As for that woman, she looked similar to Bai Yu. Yi Zichen didn't pay much attention to the other 2 women and 1 man. He didn't particularly like it. Those 2 women were extremely beautiful, but the universe was so big that there were naturally many people who were extremely beautiful. Moreover, immortals and above could change their look. Looks were never used by experts to judge others. As for that man, he was very sinister. Ever since Yi Zichen entered the alley and was stared at, he felt like he was being targeted by a poisonous tongue. Fortunately, the man didn't pay much attention to him. He only glanced at him for a moment before looking away. Even so, Yi Zichen was unable to recover from that sinister feeling. Dad! Mom! Third uncle! Uncle 3 lives! Bai Yu walked in front of everyone and greeted the handsome man, as well as the person on the left. Lil Yu, you're here. The woman that Yi Zichen felt was somewhat similar to Bai Yu smiled and nodded towards her. The tyrannical middle-aged uncle also smiled. Then, third uncle, big brother Lil Yu is here. Third uncle's eyes were filled with a smile as he spoke to the handsome man in the middle seat. The handsome man replied softly, then didn't say anything else. The atmosphere in the alley turned strange due to his silence. Uncle Bai, Uncle Meng Luo, Hua Jianro and the Flame Rat also spoke up. You guys came as well? Only then did the handsome man open his eyes. I heard they're our guest. I want to see them as well. Hua Jianro did not show any signs of fear in front of several sovereign-level experts. She merely shrugged towards them with a smile. So it's these people? You must be the precious daughter of the Golden Flower Overlord. The coarse middle-aged man laughed. The rough middle-aged man laughed heartily. The last time we met the Golden Flower Overlord, we were still supremacies. When you were born, I was in the outer realm and couldn't return in time. Otherwise, I would have been able to hug you. This is the Sky Lion Overlord. The handsome man also introduced him to Hua Jianro, the first overlord of the Sky Lion race, as well as the current leader of the Sky Lion race. He's a good friend that your father and I got to know when we were traveling outside. Uncle Sky Lion. Hua Jianro greeted with a smile. Ha ha, great. The Sky Lion Overlord laughed, then took out a green glass orb. I obtained this from the ruins of a broken star in the outer realm. It's a king-level trinket that can defend against soul attack. I'll give it to you as a greeting gift. F***CK. King-level treasures and soul treasures are called trinket, as expected of a Sky Lion Overlord. Thank you, Uncle Sky Lion. Hua Jianro did not refuse. She walked up and accepted the orb, then returned to Bai Yu's side. These are the others. Flame Rat, my little sister's child. The handsome middle-aged man pointed at the Flame Rat. Greetings, Senior. The Flame Rat greeted. This is Meng Luo, the beloved daughter of the Spirit Rabbit lineage. Greetings, Senior. As for this one, the handsome man looked towards Yi Zichen and hesitated for a moment. Junior Yi Zichen greets seniors. Yi Zichen. Suddenly, the Sky Lion Overlord frowned. Milky Way Lord? That's right, this junior is the Milky Way Lord. The moment Yi Zichen said that, the seniors in the alleyway all looked towards him. Bai Yu's mother and uncle looked at Yi Zichen curiously. Only the handsome man acted as if he already knew. He merely glanced at Yi Zichen indifferently, then looked away. During this time, Yi Zichen clearly felt when the Sky Lion Overlord mentioned his identity as the Milky Way Lord. His subordinates all looked at him strangely. Yi Zichen, who had lived on the edge of life and death for many years. He could feel it. Their gazes were filled with killing intent. Chapter 26:71. No matter how obscure their gazes were, Yi Zichen's sense of danger had always been excellent. Furthermore, he'd struggled on the brink of death countless times, so he was exceptionally sensitive to such things. Even though it was just for a moment that man, who was like a poisonous snake, had indeed revealed his murderous intent. As for the two beautiful women, they were fine. One of them seemed to be very interested in him. Ha ha! I really didn't expect to meet you here. You must be a student of the Master of the Galaxy. It seemed like Wenli was right. Even though Yi Zichen had announced to the public that he was the reincarnation of the Milky Way Master, Yi Zichen still couldn't believe it. But to those experts there was no way to hide it. It was the Heavenly Lion Overlord in front of him. He directly asked if Yi Zichen was the Master of the Galaxy's student. He didn't think Yi Zichen was the Master of the Galaxy. This kind of thing, in front of these people who held the core information of the universe, There was indeed nothing to hide. Yes. Yi Zichen nodded. He didn't deny it. I'm also an old acquaintance of the Master of the Galaxy. The Heavenly Lion Overlord let out a long sigh. Yi Zichen didn't find this strange. Given the Master of the Galaxy's status, it was only natural that he'd befriended such peak-level experts. But if they knew each other, why would they still harbor killing intent toward him? Enemies? I still remember that when I was under Boss Cold Moon, I saw the Milky Way Master from afar. Boss Cold Moon? Your Star-Lord Sangyue's man? Yi Zichen frowned. You can say that. Back then, I was indeed working under Planet Lord Sangyue. It's just that ever since I broke through to the supremacy level, I became the commander of the Heavenly Lion. After that, I had less contact with them. The Celestial Lion Overlord laughed. No wonder. It was no wonder that the people from the Celestial Lion Overlord wanted to kill him. Less contact? They probably still had contact in private, but it was just that they didn't reveal it to the public. I see. Yi Zichen pretended to smile calmly. He did not know why, but ever since the Celestial Lion Overlord mentioned the Azure Moon Star-Lord, he could not help but feel that the way the Celestial Lion Overlord looked at him was not right. Heavenly Lion, didn't you come for my daughter this time? Why are you chatting with these juniors now? The handsome man suddenly changed the topic. Ha ha ha, sorry. Looking at these juniors, I can't help but feel a little nostalgic. I feel like saying a few words. Lord Fire God, please don't blame me. The handsome man also looked towards Yi Zichen and company. Go to your aunt's place. All right. Hua Jianro nodded, then gave Yi Zichen a meaningful glance, causing everyone to stand behind Bai Yu's mother. Only Bai Yu was left, standing alone in place, pursing his lips in silence. Bai Yu. Father. Bai Yu raised his head. This is your uncle Heavenly Lion. He came here for you. The handsome man spoke. Why did you come for me? Bai Yu pretended not to know. Xiao Yu. At this moment, Bai Yu's third uncle chuckled. Lord Heavenly Lion coming to find you is naturally a good thing. What good thing? Bai Yu didn't understand. I'll say it myself. Without waiting for Bai Yu's third uncle to continue speaking, the Heavenly Lion Overlord chuckled and continued. Lion Hong. Come in. Rumbling thunder sounded out in everyone's ears. Not long later, a young man who looked similar to the Heavenly Lion Overlord walked in. He was also covered in golden fur and exuded a noble aura. Father. Come, come, come. The Heavenly Lion Overlord waved towards the young man. Hearing that, the young man walked in front of the Heavenly Lion Overlord and looked at Bai Yu for a while. Xiao Yu, this is my son, Lion Hong. Aha! I've been in the outside world my entire life. He's the only son I have at home. The Heavenly Lion Overlord sighed like an elder. The Celestial Lion Overlord sighed like an elder talking about family matters. In the future, if I'm really unlucky, Lion Hong will be my only successor. Roar. The cold reply caused the Heavenly Lion Overlord to frown, but he quickly returned to normal. You might not like what I'm saying. The Heavenly Lion Overlord frowned slightly. Hey, you're getting old, so you always like to talk about these things. Then I'll get straight to the point. I came to propose marriage. Meng Luo and the Flame Rat were both stunned, as if they were very surprised by the Heavenly Lion Overlord's words. As for the others, their expressions were normal. They all seemed to know the Heavenly Lion Overlord's intentions. Among them was Bai Yu. When she heard that he had come to propose marriage, her expression did not change and was still cold. Your father and I have been close friends for many years. A long time ago we said that if our children are of the same gender, then we will be close friends for life. If they are of the opposite gender, then we will be connected by marriage. This time, Bai Yu was not as calm as before. She raised her head and looked at the handsome man. The handsome man also nodded lightly. I did say it. Ha ha ha, look. Your father still remembers. The Heavenly Lion Overlord laughed. Now is perfect. I'm a son, and you're a girl who hasn't gotten married yet. Why don't our two families get married? The human race is currently in turmoil. If our two families can get married, then no matter how big the turmoil is, it won't affect us in the slightest. Bai Yu's hands instantly clenched. She bit her lips and looked at her father with eyes filled with confusion. You decide. The handsome man did not have any intention of making a decision for Bai Yu. Xiao Yu, my son is here too. I brought him here for you to see. I heard from Lord Fire God that you are going to the ancestral dragon tribe later. My son is going too. Why don't you join his team and get to know each other better? She's also going to the ancestral dragon tribe? Hua Jianrou exclaimed. Yeah. The Sky Lion Overlord laughed. My son is also a member of the Universe Mercenary Alliance and has the qualifications to head to the ancestral dragon clan. Are you guys going as well? That's right, the Milky Way Lord is here. He must have invited you. That's good too. You'll get to know each other later, and you'll be able to take care of each other when you get there. Universe Mercenary Alliance. Hostile. It seemed like the Heavenly Lion Overlord was really Tsang Yu's subordinate. Yi Zichen frowned as he looked at Bai Yu, who stood in the middle. According to what Bai Yu had said to him, she should have just told him her plan. Yet up until now she had not said anything. She had only clenched her fist. What was she worried about? During that time, Bai Yu bit his lips and glanced at Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen nodded towards her, indicating that she could continue. But she still didn't say anything. Is she afraid of getting involved? Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows and thought back to what the Heavenly Lion Overlord had said. Shi Hong will go to the ancestral dragon clan as well. Bai Yu was afraid of making enemies for Yi Zichen. Xiao Yu, what do you think? Sorry, I have to interrupt. At that moment, Yi Zichen strode forward and wrapped his arms around Bai Yu's waist. Bai Yu cannot agree to this marriage proposal, because she already has me. Chapter 2672. The hall was completely silent. Everyone looked at Yi Zichen and Bai Yu, their expressions completely different. Bai Yu's mother seemed surprised. However, she quickly nodded at Yi Zichen, as if she was a mother-in-law looking at her son-in-law and finding him more and more pleasing to the eye. That hot-tempered Uncle Big Ball frowned as he examined Yi Zichen for a long time, his gaze alternating between Yi Zichen and Shi Hong. In the end, he nodded as if he was more satisfied with Yi Zichen. However, when he saw that Yi Zichen's hand was placed on Bai Yu's waist, he frowned. As for the Heavenly Lion Hegemon, that viper-like man hadn't changed much. His gaze was still the same infuriating gaze. The red-shirted woman sitting at the head of the table raised her eyebrows. She pursed her lips into a half-smile, as if she was very interested in Yi Zichen's sudden appearance. As for the woman sitting in the middle, she maintained a cold expression the entire time, as if nothing here affected her in the slightest. Bai Yu's third uncle. His gaze was deep and his eyebrows were furrowed. Even he didn't seem too hostile. This surprised Yi Zichen quite a bit. At first, he thought that Bai Yu's third uncle had planned all of this. If he appeared now, then he would be the most furious person. However, he didn't expect. He wasn't as angry as Yi Zichen imagined. His gaze seemed to be considering something. Perhaps he was thinking, if Yi Zichen married Bai Yu, would it affect his son's path to the position of clan head? Meng Luo and the Flame Rat were both shocked. Especially Meng Luo, who covered her mouth in shock. Su Luo frowned, but didn't say anything. Yi Zichen had told her everything along the way. She knew the reason for Yi Zichen's actions. The happiest among them was Hua Jianrou. She secretly gave Yi Zichen a thumbs up. She had been worried whether Yi Zichen would really step forward or not. She didn't think that he would step forward without Bai Yu even needing to say anything. How loyal! Bai Yu subconsciously blushed when Yi Zichen hugged her waist. For a girl, the waist was a rather private part. She was so old. Yi Zichen was the only person of the opposite sex who could hug her waist. Bai Yu's heart raced when she felt the warmth of Yi Zichen's hands on her waist. She pursed her lips and glanced at Yi Zichen. Her face flushed red with confusion. She was very strange. Why did Yi Zichen still stand up in this sort of situation? Her father had already made it very clear that he would not interfere with her choice. In fact, he was also indicating that he had no opinion on this marriage. Her original intention in seeking out Yi Zichen was, with her father's support, she could use Yi Zichen as an excuse to avoid the marriage. Now that her father didn't care, Yi Zichen would face even more pressure. But she couldn't use telepathy. The people sitting here were all famous experts. It was very easy for these seniors to know the contents of the voice transmissions between their juniors. Yi Zichen smiled the entire time. His gaze was more focused on Bai Yu's father, Fire God, and the Heavenly Lion Overlord. There was still no change in Lord Vulcan's expression. It was the same for the Heavenly Lion Overlord. On the other hand, his son, Shi Hong, frowned. Although it was only for a fleeting moment, Yi Zichen still caught sight of it. The silence continued. Since the seniors didn't speak, Yi Zichen simply wrapped his arms around Bai Yu's waist and silently waited for them to speak. About half a minute later, "Ha ha!" The Heavenly Lion Overlord was the first to laugh. "Milky Way Lord, what did you mean just now?" "I meant exactly what I said." Yi Zichen looked straight into the Heavenly Lion Overlord's eyes. "To tell you the truth, Bai Yu and I already confirmed our relationship 10-odd years ago. Just now, when the Heavenly Lion Overlord said that he was going to propose marriage, as a man, I cannot remain silent." Hua Jianro, who stood behind Bai Yu's mother, nodded in satisfaction. If it wasn't for the seniors noticing, she really would have given Yi Zichen a big thumbs up. "That's it. Continue." Disregarding Yi Zichen's previous impression of him, Hua Jianro felt that he was rather manly from the current scene. "You and Lil, you confirmed your relationship?" At that moment, Bai Yu's third uncle frowned. "That's right. 10-odd years ago." "Yes." "Ridiculous." Bai Yu's third uncle shook his head with a smile. "Bai Yu has always lived in the clan. As her third uncle, how could I not know? What's more, I've never seen you in the clan. Where did your relationship come from? Who said that we have to meet in the first universe?" "Bai Yu and I met in the second universe. Hua Jianro, the Flame Rat and Meng Luo all met in the second universe." Yi Zichen explained with a warm smile. "I can prove that." Hua Jianro walked over. Hua Jianro walked out. "The few of us got to know each other in the second universe more than 10 years ago. At that time, we were together almost every day." "Then you know about Bai Yu's relationship with the Milky Way Lord?" Bai Yu's third uncle frowned. "If you knew, then why didn't you say anything? If you did, then it wouldn't be like this." "We don't know." Hua Jianro shook her head with a smile. "But we can feel that Bai Yu and Yi Zichen's relationship is rather close, but we never thought that it would be like this. Actually, it's normal for Hua Jianro and company to not know." Yi Zichen smiled warmly. Yi Zichen smiled warmly. "I confirmed my relationship with Bai Yu during the Genius Tournament 10 years ago." "Genius Struggle? Why are we talking about that again?" "Bai Yu participated in the Genius Struggle 10 years ago." Yi Zichen smiled warmly. Yi Zichen smiled warmly. "Back then, I was also in that examination room. We were still friends back then. Back then, there was a small disturbance and I saved Bai Yu." "Saved Bai Yu?" Yi Zichen had thought through every step very clearly. If it was purely getting to know each other and developing feelings for each other, then the relationship was too thin. And it was rather fake. Who was Bai Yu? She was the daughter of the Fire God, the pearl of the Bai clan with a spiritual seed. Companionship? It would be too laughable if that could move her heart. Not to mention the lords here, even Yi Zichen didn't believe it. It was too fake. The lifespans of the universe were very long. They were also stricter when it came to relationship. Companionship would move people, but it wasn't enough to make two people fall in love. Then how could he make the story richer? Reality. He needed the death storm during the Genius Struggle. The hero saves the damsel in distress. Devote her life to him. That was a very melodramatic plot, but it was also the best. What's more, Zhao Exen put himself in jail in order to save Bai Yu. No matter what, it made sense. Chapter 2673. If he lied, there was always a chance of being seen through. If he didn't want to be seen through, then he had to tell the truth. Death Storm. Yi Zichen was telling the truth about Bai Yu. Even if the overlords wanted to investigate, there was no problem. Bai Yu's third uncle frowned. He knew this. He also knew that after Bai Yu returned, he destroyed the Shitu family at all costs. This was no small matter in the human race. In the end, the Bai clan had to mobilize their entire clan's power to suppress the matter. The Heavenly Lion Overlord naturally knew this as well. I do know all that the Milky Way Lord said. Bai Yu's third uncle smiled. Bai Yu's third uncle laughed and said, when Bai Yu returned to the clan, he used his family's power to exterminate the Shitu clan. At the time, I found it very strange. I watched little Yu grow up and knew that her personality wasn't so tyrannical. Now I finally understand. It was all for the Milky Way Overlord. Yi Zichen smiled but said nothing. Before long, Bai Yu's third uncle frowned, his gaze sharp. But if you want to say that you and Lil Yu are going to marry each other just because of this, isn't that a bit too childish? The way I see it, you two haven't confirmed your feelings for each other, and that's just an excuse for Bai Yu not wanting to marry Shi Hong. Senior, why do you say that? Yi Zichen smiled like a spring breeze and looked into third uncle's eyes. Feelings are hard to figure out. The Milky Way Lord is right. Third uncle Bai nodded in agreement. Third uncle Bai Yu nodded his head in approval. Feelings are hard to say, but a hero rescuing a beauty and pledging her life to him does make sense. But, do you really think we overlords are blind? Do you think we can't tell? As soon as third uncle Bai said that, Yi Zichen's heart sank. They could tell? Did these overlords all open their heavenly eyes? Yi Zichen subconsciously looked around. From their gazes, he could tell that Yi Zichen and Bai Yu hadn't confirmed their relationship. True lovers aren't like you. Right now, you look more like you're just putting on a show. Instantly, Hua Jianrou's gaze darkened. You can tell? That's bad. She knew that Bai Yu and Yi Zichen really weren't lovers. Now that their relationship had been exposed, it wasn't good for either of them. At that moment, Yi Zichen looked up and laughed out loud. Everyone looked at him in confusion. The red-clothed woman on the Heavenly Lion Overlord's side stared at him with interest. Bai Yu, it seems like we can't hide it any longer. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly, while Hua Jianrou couldn't help but cover her face. She couldn't blame Yi Zichen for giving up. He had done a good enough job. When Bai Yu didn't take the initiative to mention him, he bravely stood up and even used a rather reasonable relationship to prove himself. Blame that third uncle. Bai Yu also turned around and shook his head towards Yi Zichen. She naturally didn't blame Yi Zichen. Aside from third uncle, everyone in the Bai clan was frowning. Even Lord Fire God, who had been expressionless all this while, frowned slightly. Yi Zichen also slowly let go of Bai Yu's waist. Just as everyone thought that Yi Zichen had given up. Overlord truly is an overlord. That's right, Bai Yu and I aren't engaged. What a shame for you guys to be able to tell. But I still object to the marriage between the Heavenly Lion Overlord and the Bai family. Instantly, everyone in the hall looked towards Yi Zichen. Their eyes were filled with shock. The marriage between the Heavenly Lion Overlord's Heavenly Lion clan and the Fire God's Bai family was something that even the overlords had no right to object. What right did Yi Zichen have? His identity as the Milky Way Lord? To be honest, none of them cared about his identity as the Milky Way Lord. If the Milky Way Lord was in charge of the Milky Way, perhaps they would care about Yi Zichen's opinion. But now the Milky Way Lord's fate was unknown. Thus, Yi Zichen's words naturally held less weight. Milky Way Lord, we can tolerate your little farce just now because you are the Milky Way Lord, but you can't possibly think that you have the right to affect the marriage, right? Bai Yu's third uncle laughed in disdain. I don't have the right. Yi Zichen shook his head. Then why? I object to the fact that we're just fighting over love. Yi Zichen sighed heavily, then looked at Bai Yu with shining eyes. I like Bai Yu, I love her. That's why I don't want her to marry someone else. She belongs to me. Everyone was stunned by these shocking words. I'm a rather introverted person. There are many things I've always kept to myself. I'll tell you the truth. Just now, Bai Yu sent me a transmission and told me to pretend to be engaged to her in order to interfere with the marriage. None of them were surprised at all. They all knew. I agreed. I did everything I could to act perfectly, but unfortunately, seniors still saw through me. After I was seen through, I actually retreated to the side. Congratulations on your marriage, Bai Yu. But I can't do it because I like her. Yi Zichen's eyes reddened. He took a deep breath. Bai Yu and I actually had many experiences together. Some were unforgettable, some were touching. Actually, I liked Bai Yu from the first moment I saw her. Yes, it was love at first sight. But I didn't dare to say it. I was only at the star body level back then, and had no status in the universe. I know. Bai Yu is a member of a big family. Back then, I was her and Meng Luo's fighter. I could earn over 1 million universe credits from them every day. Lian Hong couldn't help but snort. To him, 1 million universe credits wasn't even worthy of him saying it. Young Master Lian Hong laughed. You might think that 1 million universe credits is very little, but it was a huge sum of money for me back then. I was proud of earning 1 million in a day. But even more than that, it was pain. The more proud I was of this little bit of money, the more it proved that the distance between me and Bai Yu was growing larger and larger. Later on, I worked hard to earn money. I worked hard to improve myself so that I could catch up to Bai Yu, even if it was just a little bit closer. Yi Zichen's words caused everyone present to imagine a scene. It was the scene of a small fry at the bottom fighting for the love of his life, in order to get closer to the person he loved. A little bit, climbing up bit by bit. Meng Luo, the Flame Rat and Hua Jianrou were all shocked. They didn't know any of this. Don't mention knowing, they didn't even notice it. Chapter 2674. It was definitely a tragic story. Love at first sight. Huge difference in status. If there were no accidents, then this sort of feeling could only be hidden in one's heart and sealed away as a memory. If there were no accidents, nothing would have happened between me and Bai Yu. Even though I knew that I was the master's student, the future master of the Milky Way galaxy. But I knew very well, what esteemed master gave will always be esteemed master, and my identity as the master of the Milky Way student isn't very likable. My master has a lot of friends, but he also has a lot of enemies. That's why I wanted to give up. Yi Zichen's tone was heavy, while his eyes were filled with struggle. But then I saw hope. I seemed to have an advantage that many people don't have in the second universe. That's why I thought, when I become strong enough one day, I'll tell Bai Yu everything. The atmosphere in the alleyway was strange. Milky Way Lord, stop intentionally stirring things up here. Bai Yu's third uncle quickly stopped the conversation when he sensed the change in the atmosphere. Don't think that we can't tell that you're still acting. Is that so? Do you still think that I'm acting? Yi Zichen nodded. Do you think that I have no feelings for Bai Yu, and that everything I do and say is all an act? That's right. Good. Yi Zichen laughed. His laughter contained a hint of bitterness and arrogance. It was clearly two conflicting emotions, yet they appeared on his face at the same time. Then let me ask you, if it wasn't for the person you love, would you save her time and time again for a stranger you just met? A stranger wouldn't, but a friend would. Third uncle replied. You want to talk about how you saved Bai Yu? You guys aren't strangers, right? At the very least, you're good friends, right? Alright, then we're friends. Let me ask you again. Would you save your friend time and time again, even if you knew that you would die? Would you? It's only natural for me to risk my life for my best friend. Third uncle replied without any hesitation. Then, when you're facing death, will you give the chance to live to him without any hesitation at all? Then die and give up everything you have. Bayou's third uncle hesitated. At that moment it was really hard for him to say that he could. Seniors, may I ask if you can do it? No one answered. I've saved Bayou multiple times, and each time, he was in dire straits. Every time, I knew I would die, so why did I still go? Let's take the Virtual World Corporation's disconnection of the Internet in Universe 2 as an example. Bayou's third uncle, you just said that you could be a close friend, but I've only known Bayou for a few months. Would we have become close friends? If it was you, would you go? The second universe network collapsed. People in the virtual network could not leave the virtual network. The natives of the novice village carried out a plan to purge the humans of the first universe. How many people had died? Under those circumstances, whoever went would die. This matter shocked the entire universe. There was no way Bayou's third uncle and the others didn't know. Answer me, will you go? Can't say it, right? I'm going. I risked my life to save Bayou and the others. Do you think we're just friends? Also, Bayou was heavily injured. I woke her up. Death storm. I directly pushed her out without any hesitation. You're telling me that this isn't love. I'm acting. Could it be that I knew this day would come 10-odd years ago? That I pretended to be a couple with Bayou in front of you and risked my life countless times just for this day? Is that so? Yi Zichen's voice trembled. He laughed maniacally as tears welled up in his eyes as he looked at the overlords. I'm acting. Yes, you're too right. I'm acting. I don't want my life anymore. I'm acting with you guys just for today. Shocked. The Flame Rat, Meng Luo and Hua Jianro all opened their eyes wide in shock. They looked at Bayou and Yi Zichen as if they just heard a huge piece of gossip. None of the overlords said anything. Even Bayou's uncle and mother seemed to be moved by this. I can't do it. At that moment, the red-shirted woman suddenly spoke up. Brat, I can answer you. I can't be like you to a friend. Even to a lover. I can't be as selfless and fearless as you. To be able to do this? Either that's his personality to begin with, and he's willing to give up on himself for the people around him, or that person is truly important to you. Judging from your tone and gaze, I'm leaning towards the latter. Yi Zichen never expected the person speaking up for him to be the red-shirted woman from the Heavenly Lion Overlord's faction. Thank you for understanding, Senior. You're welcome. I really like people of the younger generation who value relationships like you. My name is Candle Juin. You can call me the 9 Overlords or Sister Candle 9. The red-shirt woman nodded with a smile. Sister Candle 9. Good. Candle Juin nodded in satisfaction, then shrugged towards the Heavenly Lion Overlord. Heavenly Lion, this child. I feel like she's not bad. Since she likes the Fire God's daughter so much, then don't bother with her anymore. Candle 9. Heavenly Lion frowned. Candle Juin twitched his mouth and shrugged, then fell silent. Bayou's third uncle frowned. Enough. No matter what sort of feelings you have for Bayou, you can only blame yourself for not saying it earlier. Right now, the Heavenly Lion Overlord is sitting here, and his son is here as well. The marriage is about to be decided, and you're regretting it now? I'm telling you, it's too late. So what if it's too late? Who are you? Yi Zichen frowned, then smirked towards Bayou's third uncle. Bayou's parents didn't say anything. From the very beginning, it was just you, third uncle, talking and talking. I just want to ask, what right do you have? If I didn't know, I would have thought that Bayou is your daughter. I'm Bayou's third uncle. I watched her grow up, and I treat her like my own flesh and blood. It's not wrong to call her my daughter. Bai Yu's third uncle snorted. If you truly treat her like your own, then why didn't you ask Bai Yu whether she's willing or not? Yi Zichen questioned. Ask yourself honestly. No parent would truly not consider their child's feelings. However, I really didn't feel anything from you just now. You've always been in favor of Bai Yu and Shihong getting engaged. Why didn't you ask whether she's willing to be with a poor brat like me, who only likes her in secret? With that, Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile. Wait, I'm no longer a poor brat. I'm a Milky Way lord. Even though my esteemed master is still unknown, as a Milky Way lord, my status as a Milky Way lord and your Bai family are a match, right? I want to marry Bai Yu. Are you saying that I don't even deserve the chance? Chapter 26:75. Lord of the Milky Way. He owned the entire Milky Way. Although the current Milky Way wasn't as large as it used to be, it was still an enormous galaxy, equivalent to a mid-sized cosmic nation. The resources it possessed were incalculable. Furthermore, even if Yi Zichen's title of Milky Way Lord didn't match up to his status in the eyes of these peak overlords, the title of Milky Way Lord truly belonged to him. This title alone was more than enough to surpass many first-rate clans. If Yi Zichen didn't look into the details, then it wouldn't be wrong to say that they were well-matched. The most important thing was his final question. Did he have the right? If Bai Yu's third uncle answered no, then that would be disdain for the Milky Way Lord, as well as the Milky Way Lord. Although the Milky Way Lord was nowhere to be found, the Virtual World Corporation and the Universal Union Bank were still in the universe. They couldn't possibly allow Bai Yu's third uncle to slander the Milky Way. If they really did come knocking, even the Bai clan had to consider whether or not they'd anger the two giants for Bai Yu's third uncle's sake. What's more, the Bai clan had more contact with the Virtual World Corporation, so they naturally had a closer relationship with the Milky Way. Thus, he couldn't say he didn't have the right. If he said he did, then the marriage alliance with the Celestial Lion clan might very well fall through, and the Celestial Lion Overlord's arrival would become a joke. He might very well have to bear the Celestial Lion Overlord's wrath. No matter how he answered this question, it definitely wasn't the best answer. Bai Yu's third uncle frowned and didn't speak. Yi Zichen looked him straight in the eye. Senior, do I have the right? F***ck. As expected of the great god. Third uncle Bai Yu was rendered speechless, the flame rat muttered. If it were me, I might not even dare to speak carelessly in front of so many overlords. Look at you. No matter what, you're Sacred Fire's son. How can you say something like that? Hua Jianro frowned. It's just a few overlords. What's the big deal? But, the great god and big sister Bai Yu really. Meng Luo trailed off. Hua Jianro shrugged. I don't know, but the relationship between Bai Yu and Yi Zichen has always been weird. Maybe what Yi Zichen said was true. Alan's expression was the same as usual, without any fluctuations. Even though there were so many hegemons present, he was only a duke. His expression didn't change in the slightest. He simply stood in place, as if on guard against anyone attacking Yi Zichen. Su Luer's expression was cold. As Su Yan's older sister, Yi Zichen's words had already crossed the bottom line of what she could accept. It was just that Yi Zichen was smart. He'd reported it ahead of time. Even if she was angry, she couldn't lose her temper. Moreover, there were so many seniors here. As for Winnie, she was stunned. It was no wonder that her master thought so highly of Sir Lord. This kind of courage. If it were anyone else, even someone with Yi Zichen's background, they wouldn't dare say such a thing. Courage, and confidence. Not a single one could be omitted. Are you questioning me? Bai Yu's third uncle narrowed his eyes. With your general rank strength, you dare to question a level 3 overlord? His sharp gaze swept across Yi Zichen's face like a blade. The temperature in the alley also rose rapidly. Senior, are you trying to intimidate me? Yizichin stood proudly like a pine tree, then looked up. Senior, if you think my strength isn't enough, does that mean my status as a Milky Way Lord isn't enough? Ha! The Candle Dragon laughed inexplicably. Smart kid. Everyone could tell that Bayou's third uncle didn't know how to handle the title of Milky Way Lord, so he was avoiding it. However, Yizichin refused to let go of the title. As a Milky Way Lord, I ask you, do I have the right to marry the Bai family's daughter? Yizichin asked. Yes. At that moment, the silent handsome man, Lord Fire God, spoke up. Big bro. OL3, that's enough. Fire God glanced at Bayou's third uncle. The title of Milky Way Lord is on par with that of the heads of the 8 great clans. This is something the entire universe knows. But, enough, muttered Lord Fire God. Lord Fire God muttered. Bayou's third uncle immediately lowered his head. No matter how unwilling he was. In terms of strength, Fire God was the pillar of the Bai family, the one with the highest combat strength. He'd fought for 50% of the Bai family's position. Fire God's word was law in the family. That was publicly acknowledged. At first, Yizichin thought he still had a chance when Fire God hadn't said anything. If he spoke now. Are you still going to protect your daughter? Milky Way Lord. This junior is here. Fire God was Bayou's father. Yizichin naturally had to respect him. Or rather, he respected all seniors. Of course, that was only if they abided by their status and did what seniors were supposed to do. You weren't polite just now. Fire God muttered. This junior admits it. Yizichin nodded. But this junior wants to say this for himself. This junior knows how to respect his seniors. When it comes to mutual respect, I'm a very polite person. Let's not talk about that. If you said that to OL3 as a Milky Way Lord, I wouldn't blame you. But if you want to marry my daughter, then you'll have to put down your airs as a Milky Way Lord. Fire God's tone was slow and gentle. Yizichin nodded deeply, then bowed. This junior understands. Then continue. As soon as Lord Vulcan finished speaking, he didn't say anything else. Yizichin frowned. In his heart, he didn't really understand what Fire God meant by continue. Ahem. Bayou's uncle coughed, as if to give Yizichin some sort of signal. Milky Way Lord. At that moment, the Candle Dragon spoke up with a chuckle. Sister Candle Dragon. All right. The Candle Dragon nodded with a smile. We all heard your heartfelt words just now. I'm very touched. But you've been expressing your feelings the entire time. You should ask little sister Bayou if she's willing to accept you. So that's how it is. Fire God wanted Yizichin to ask Bayou's feelings. In the end, it still came to this. Yizichin glanced at Bayou's third uncle. You want to ruin the show between me and Bayou? Don't even think about it. What should be Bayou's must be Bayou's. Yizichin took a deep breath and tilted his head. Before he could speak, Bayou suddenly spoke up. Was what you said just now true? Every word I said came from the bottom of my heart. Yizichin nodded seriously. Actually, I wanted to wait until I became a supreme before telling you all this as a Milky Way Lord, but I can't wait any longer. I can't just watch as someone else takes you away from me. Bayou, are you willing to accept me? Bayou's hands trembled inexplicably. His lips trembled as he nodded. I am. Chapter 2676. I'm willing. Bayou's reply reverberated throughout the hall. Bayou's eyes instantly lit up with a bright smile. That smile was like the morning sun in a glacier, melting the glacier and reviving all living things. Yizichin also smiled. Everyone is happy. The Candle Dragon was the first to applaud with a smile. The Candle Dragon was the first to applaud with a smile. His expression was filled with emotions. Lovers finally get married. What a beautiful scene. Candle Dragon. The Celestial Lion Overlord said gloomily. The Candle Dragon tilted his head and glanced at him. What? Isn't this worth celebrating? Fire God, what do you think? The celestial lion overlord seemed to no longer want to pay attention to the crazy candle dragon. His eyes were filled with anger. It seems like we won't be able to get married. Not enough. Inexplicably, Lord Vulcan gently shook his head. Yes, not enough. Bayou's third uncle seemed to understand Lord Fire God's intentions. Milky Way Lord, it's a good ending for Lil, you to accept your feelings. But if you think that this can stop our Bai family from getting married to the Celestial Lion clan, then you are gravely mistaken. What? All of a sudden, everyone's eyes were filled with shock. Dad. Fear lingered in Bayou's eyes as she looked at her father. Why? Senior, are you trying to break up a couple? Yi Zichen frowned. Uncle Fire God. Hua Jianro also ran out. I only have one daughter, Bayou. Lord Fire God let out a deep sigh. Lord Vulcan took a deep breath. As her father, I want to see her excited. I am very happy that you two are in love. Then you. But this is just a bonus, Lord Fire God said softly. The human race in the future will be in turmoil. There are internal divisions, and external races are eyeing us. The Bai family will not act against any of their own. We will be the line of defense in the outworld. Bayou's uncle, mother, and even her third uncle did not reveal any surprise. It was as if they already knew about this decision. The Celestial Lion Overlord frowned. He definitely didn't know about this. Bayou is my most important treasure. I don't want her to go to that dark world. I want her to live. So, I agreed to the Heavenly Lion Overlord's idea of a marriage alliance. Hua Jianro covered her mouth in surprise. No wonder she had been puzzled before. The Bai family actually did not need a marriage alliance. When she came here and saw the marriage partner, Hua Jianro was stunned. She couldn't find anything worthy of the Bai family's marriage alliance. Now she understood. Fire God was finding a way out for Bayou. Perhaps my decision is a little unreasonable. It's good that both parties are in love. I'm very happy to see Bayou meet the man she truly likes. As he spoke, Lord Vulcan's eyes revealed a gentle smile. But this is not enough. Galactic Lord. I acknowledge your position in the universe. I've met your teacher a few times in the past. He's a senior that I respect. Our Bai family has a closer relationship with the Virtual World Corporation. If little you is with you, I should actually agree. But I hope you don't mind. I acknowledge your status, but I don't acknowledge your strength, including the overall strength of the Milky Way. If your teacher was still here, I would be very willing to let Bayou marry you. Unfortunately, your teacher isn't here anymore. I won't let Bayou go to a place with unstable foundations. It's impossible for me to entrust her to an organization that has enemies everywhere in the universe but no allies in the true sense of the word. Indeed, the Virtual World Corporation and the Universe United Milky Way have announced their alliance, but the two of them, to put it bluntly, they can't even take care of themselves right now. The Universe Mercenary Alliance and the universe's #1 dueling grounds are keeping a close eye on them. They cancel each other out. Or to be more precise, there's an additional half of the universe's #1 dueling grounds in the Tsangyue galaxy. Lord Vulcan didn't hide anything. He hit Yi Zichen's sore spot. He explained the relationship between the major powers in the universe without any hesitation. He also explained the strength of both sides. The combined strength of the Virtual World Corporation and the Universe United Bank was equivalent to the Tsangyue Galaxy, the Universe Mercenary Alliance, and half of the #1 dueling grounds. Do you think you have the strength to fight against half of the #1 dueling grounds? Yi Zichen was speechless. The Heavenly Lion Overlord's family doesn't have such concerns. Although he belongs to the Tsangyue Galaxy, his clan's overall strength is much stronger than your Milky Way. His clan's allies are also of high quality. Lil Yu's life will not be in danger there. Vulcan, It's fine, Heavenly Lion, I won't mind, Lord Vulcan smiled warmly. I've always known that you've always been someone from the Tsongyue galaxy. But this doesn't affect the thousands of years of friendship between us. The Heavenly Lion Overlord nodded and sighed without saying anything. Milky Way Lord, you don't have any allies. How can I leave by you in your hands? I'm worried. Who said I don't have allies? At that moment, Hua Jianro walked up. The Hua family is willing to be an ally of the Milky Way Alliance. The enemies of the Milky Way are the enemies of the Hua family. Jianro, can you represent the Hua family? Vulcan smiled. The clan head's golden seal is in my hands. Hua Jianro took out a golden peony flower. I am now the highest decision-maker of the Hua family. I can represent the entire Hua family. All right, I approve. Vulcan nodded, still not enough. I represent the Spirit Rabbit bloodline to be an ally of the Milky Way Alliance. Uncle Vulcan, you know, in the clan. All right, you and I approve too. The flame rat scratched his head. Uncle, I can't do it. My mom didn't pass the position to me. Great God, sorry, I can't support you. My words don't carry much weight. That's a pity. Lord Vulcan sighed, his eyes didn't change. Milky Way Lord, I approve that you have 2 excellent allies, but it's still not enough. Steel family and I. Steel family? I know I can count him in, but it's still not enough. At that moment, a silver token suddenly fell from the sky. Is it enough? No one could see who it was, but they could hear a voice coming from the alley. Seeing this token, Lord Vulcan smiled inexplicably. It's enough. Sly old fox, if it's enough, then stop finding trouble with this junior. You're a supreme being after all. Do you feel at ease bullying a junior like this? Supreme being? Instantly, everyone in the alley widened their eyes. Vulcan. Supreme being. Chapter 2677. The 7 Paragons of the Human Race. The Master of the Milky Way. The head of the Supremes Association, the Supreme President. Wen Li, the head of the Virtual World Group. Universe United Bank head Blue Emperor. The leader of the Universe Mercenary Alliance, Godflame, shuddered. The leader of the Universe's number 1 arena, Luo Sanqian. The leader of the Weapon Alliance, Forged Heart. These were the 7 known supreme beings of the human race, and they were also publicly acknowledged as the 7 supreme beings of the human race. There was no difference in their battle prowess. Or rather, after reaching the level of a supreme being, it would be very difficult to determine who was stronger and who was weaker. After the Master of the Galaxy disappeared, Star-Lord Tsongyue broke through to the Paramount Being level and took over the position of Milky Way Master, becoming one of the 7 new Paramount Beings. The birth of any supreme being. It was a golden age for the human race. The human race would never hide such news, because only by doing so could they better intimidate the other races, make them fear the human race's power, and not dare to launch a large-scale war against the human race. And now, the Fire God had broken through to the Paramount level. To the Celestial Lion Overlord and those who were unaware of the situation, this news was like a heavy hammer that landed on their hearts. Fire God. Lord Fire God, you've broken through. The Heavenly Lion Overlord's pupils contracted violently, and his gaze towards the Fire God was no longer as casual as before. Previously, they were all overlords, apex overlords. There was almost no difference in their combat power. As such, the Sky Lion Overlord naturally did not have much respect for the Fire God. However, if the Fire God were to become an utmost being, then the difference between them would be like heaven and earth. Not only would it be a difference in strength, but it would also be a difference in status within the human race. The Fire God did not seem to hear the Heavenly Lion's question. Looking at the silver medal in his hand, he looked up at the void above his head. I noticed you the moment you entered Planet Een. At the time, I was wondering why you had the time to visit me. Now you know. A voice came from the void. I have a rough idea. Vulcan's eyes lingered with a smile. It's you. You're really unfriendly. Why did you tell me about my breakthrough? Do you know that I've been hiding for thousands of years? Now that you've said it, I'm afraid the entire universe will know about it. As an exalted one, you don't stand up for the human race? Instead, you live in a tiny place like planet Een. Don't you feel vexed? The person in the void said coldly. I think it's okay. The fire god whispered. I don't think it's good. That's why I said it on your behalf today. Even now, the person in the sky had not appeared, and no one could see where he was. Given the strength of the overlords in the alleys, a thought flashed across their minds. It might be an exaggeration to say that it covered the entire planet Een. But with so much time, if they wanted to, they could cover the entire planet Een. No one did. No one here dared to release even a little bit of cosmic energy, let alone find the location of the people of the void. Assuming that the identity of the supreme fire god was true, who was it that dared to speak to the most powerful being in such a manner and not be disgusted by the fire god? The most powerful being. This was the only possibility. There was a saying in the human race universe, under the supreme being, all living beings are ants. The same could be said of anyone. For some reason, the people of the universe seemed to have a kind of arrogance and complacency in their bones. They would be very disdainful of people below their realm. They felt that the lower realms were like ants, but they had forgotten that they too had climbed up step by step from the strength of an ant. To put it simply, he had forgotten his roots. But the Supreme Being was different. Anyone would feel reverence when facing the Supreme Being. Even if they were treated as ants, no one dared to show the slightest bit of dissatisfaction. This was because the Supreme Being had already surpassed the limits of humanity and entered a higher realm. In the entire history of the human race, there were only a few Supreme Beings. In fact, it could be seen from Vulcan's attitude just now. Before the mysterious expert in the void appeared, Vulcan, who was standing on his throne, was like a pool of autumn water without any ripples. He didn't treat anyone with warmth or indifference. He didn't reveal any emotions. When people didn't know that the fire god was the supreme being, they might have interpreted this as the fire god's cold personality. But now, everyone understood that he simply didn't care about the people here and everything here. He didn't care what they said or what they did. He didn't care. But now, he treated the people in the void as if they were of the same generation. If he wasn't the supreme being, then what was he? As for the identity of this supreme being, no one dared to pry. The stronger the person, the more afraid they were of death. The older the person, the more difficult it was to live. No one would take the risk just because of a little curiosity. If they angered the supreme being, they wouldn't even know how they died. You're really speaking on my behalf. Do you want me to speak on your behalf too? The fire god smiled faintly. No matter what, I will eventually guard the human race's outer regions. What about you? You're different from me. Where? From the beginning to the end. The person in the void muttered, I don't have your loyalty to the human race. All right, I'm here as a psyche physique. If you force me out, my psyche physique will collapse. Don't find trouble with the younger generation. It's enough. Heh! There was no reply from the void. The fire god exhaled lightly, placed his waist token in his pocket, and looked at the others around him. My apologies, Heavenly Lion. I acknowledge the power of an ally of the Milky Way overlords. Moreover, my daughter is congenial with him. It seems like this marriage alliance will have to end here. The fire god's words signified his final decision. Hua Jianro and the others smiled, then tilted their heads towards Yi Zichen with curiosity in their eyes. Lord Fire God. The Heavenly Lion Overlord frowned. What is it? You. Are you truly a supreme being? Perhaps. The fire god shrugged, then took out a pitch-black token from his pocket. The Society of Supremes gave it to me earlier. They said I could attend some sort of meeting with this token, but I didn't pay much attention to it. The octagonal token. The Heavenly Lion Overlord's expression froze. Then Lord Fire God, congratulations in advance on finding a good son-in-law. That's all there is to it. The Fire God didn't praise Yizichin too much. The Heavenly Lion Overlord let out a long sigh, then turned to the Candle Dragon and the others. Let's go. Knowing that the Divine Flame was a supreme being, no one dared to cause trouble here. Actually, even if they didn't have this relationship, they wouldn't dare do anything out of respect for the Bai clan. At most, they would be more polite. However, before they left, the Candle Dragon smiled at Yizichin as he walked past, then gave him a crystal. He didn't try to hide it at all. Remember to watch. After he finished speaking, the Candle Dragon left slowly. Chapter 2678. Outside the Bai clan, the Heavenly Lion Overlord's expression was extremely gloomy. His entire body was surrounded by a violent aura, as though he was on the verge of exploding. He stared at the Candle Dragon who was walking in front of him. Candle Dragon. Everyone stopped, except for the Candle Dragon, who continued to walk forward as if he did not hear anything. Candle Dragon. What's wrong? Are you calling me again? The Candle Dragon came back to his senses and looked at the Heavenly Lion Overlord who was about to explode. I'm really sorry. I was watching the virtual network just now and didn't hear you calling me. What's the matter? What were you doing just now? I'm checking out the virtual network. I'm talking about the time in the alley. The Celestial Lion Overlord suppressed the rage in his heart. You have spoken up for that kid time and time again. What the hell are you doing? You're talking about that. The Candle Dragon smiled and shrugged his shoulders. I just think he's interesting, and I want to get to know him. Showing goodwill is the most basic, right? Otherwise, how can he accept me? Show goodwill? You're a peak-level overlord, yet you're expressing goodwill. What's the problem? The Candle Dragon squinted his eyes and said, I have a pleasing personality. I like to express my goodwill to people I like. Then why didn't you think about us? I don't like you guys. The Candle Dragon looked calm. Is there a need to ask? You. The Heavenly Lion Overlord's eyes were filled with rage. Fine, if you don't like us, then why did you ruin Lady Tsongyu's plans? Do you know that the marriage with the Fire God was arranged by Lady Tsongyu? If the marriage is successful, the Fire God will be on Tsongyu's side. Ha ha ha. For some reason, the Candle Dragon laughed and pointed at the Heavenly Lion Overlord's face. Heavenly Lion, why don't you call yourself true Overlord? Candle Dragon, don't try to boss me around. The Candle Dragon's eyes darkened. His gloomy gaze made one shudder with fear. If you don't believe me, go back and ask Tsongyu. If he knew that the Fire God is the supreme being, would he still dare to allow you to continue the marriage? I said you lion men have no brains. Exactly. Candle Dragon, are you provoking me? The tone of the Heavenly Lion Overlord turned gloomy. Did I? The Candle Dragon shrugged and did not seem to be bothered. Sky Lion, don't always act like you're the boss. I really don't like it. Also, don't think that just because I came with you, I'm one of your people. I just like to join in the fun. Don't blame me for being harsh. Your son really isn't good enough for the daughter of the Fire God. If you think I'm ruining your plans, go tell Tsongyue and ask her to kill me. The Candle Dragon's eyes were filled with disdain. Sister, let's go. With that, the other female overlord walked over. Before she left, she nodded gently at the Heavenly Lion Overlord, as though she was bidding farewell. He glanced at the Heavenly Lion Overlord. The Candle Dragon turned around and did not put up any defenses, exposing his back to the Heavenly Lion Overlord just like that. A naked provocation. The agitated Heavenly Lion Overlord walked out without putting up any defenses. All of this is to say, I don't put you in my eyes at all, so don't ask for a snub here. The Heavenly Lion Overlord did not do anything either. He watched as the Candle Dragon disappeared in front of him, Then a battleship left the Bai clan's entrance and disappeared. Heavenly Lion Overlord, I'm going back as well. After the Candle Dragon and his sister left, the snake-like Overlord also smiled, revealing his sharp teeth. Go ahead. If Yi Zichen was there, he would definitely be shocked. None of the overlords that came with the Heavenly Lion Overlord were his subordinate. They were purely there to support the Heavenly Lion Overlord. All of a sudden, only the Heavenly Lion Overlord and Lion Hong were left. Dad, why didn't you kill that woman just now? Lion Hong frowned. She doesn't take Dad seriously at all. Attack! Do you have a brain? The Heavenly Lion Overlord walked forward with his hands behind his back, while Lion Hong followed behind him. Who is the Candle Dragon? If I had attacked her just now, she and her sister would have killed me without any hesitation. It's too hard for an overlord to kill him. It's hard to end the battle in a short period of time, and you might get dragged into it. What's more, the Fire God won't allow us to attack on planet Een. In a battle between overlords, a single energy shockwave can destroy a life planet. Planet Een is his base. How could he watch it get destroyed? There's also another important point, the Candle Dragon. She's crazy. The Heavenly Lion Overlord practically clenched his teeth when he said that. If I attack, then we won't let this matter rest. She will fight me to the death even if she has to burn her divine body. What's more, the Candle Dragon and his sister have nothing to do with each other. We still have the Heavenly Lion race. They can't kill me, but can't they kill our clansmen? Lion Hong's heart trembled when he heard that. He didn't expect the clan to become a stumbling block in his father's decision. Your son understands. Your son is just a bit angry that she actually said that about you. Dad, can't we find Star-Lord Songyue? She ruined Star-Lord Songyue's plans. The Heavenly Lion Overlord's eyes were filled with deep disappointment when he heard Lion Hong's words. Dad, did I say something wrong? Lion Hong asked. Foolish. How can I hand over the Heavenly Lion race to you in your current state? The Heavenly Lion Overlord muttered. Didn't you hear what the Candle Dragon said? Although that woman is crazy, there's one thing she said that I wasn't wrong. If Star-Lord Songyue knows that the Fire God is the paragon, he won't continue the marriage. Why? You. The Heavenly Lion Overlord sighed helplessly. He had to explain that he only had this one son. Star-Lord Songyue needs someone he can control. Star-Lord Songyue can't control Fire God's breakthrough to the paragon. If he can't control Fire God, then he's an unstable factor. Do you understand? So that's how it is. Also, I've thought about it. The Fire God never wanted to marry us from the start. I suspect that he intentionally revealed the identity of the paragon. Also, he said that the Bai clan will guard the outer realms in the future. He also said it on purpose. The Heavenly Lion Overlord said. Tell us? Lion Hong frowned. He said it to Star-Lord Songyue. The Heavenly Lion Overlord said, what he meant was that the Bai clan will not participate in the human race's internal war in the future. Star-Lord Songyue should also not have any designs on the Bai clan. If he really wants to come, that's fine. He's also in Paragon. The Bai clan isn't afraid of him. Is he declaring war on Star-Lord Songyue? The Heavenly Lion Overlord looked at Lion Hong with increasingly helpless and dejected eyes. He sighed softly. It's self-defense. Chapter 2679. Shi Hong didn't understand why the Celestial Lion Overlord had said self-preservation. He wanted to ask, but all he saw was his father's disappointed gaze. Hong-er, your father can explain everything for you. But this is the only problem you need to figure out yourself. If you can't even figure it out, then you don't have the right to assume the position of clan head. The Celestial Lion Overlord patted Shi Hong on the shoulder. Aren't you going to the Ancestral Dragon Clan? Hurry up and go. Don't waste any more time. Understood. Shi Hong silently boarded the ship. The Celestial Lion Overlord stood outside and watched as the warship faded into a speck of light. Does the Celestial Lion clan still have a future? He sighed inwardly. The Celestial Lion Overlord would soon board his warship. The marriage alliance had failed. He needed to head to the Tsangyue galaxy and personally report to Planet Lord Tsangyue. At a time like this, there was no point in hiding. Everything he'd done before was for the sake of today's marriage alliance. The marriage alliance had ended in failure, and the Fire God knew of the relationship between the Celestial Lion clan and the Tsangyue galaxy. There was no longer any need to hide. However, he really didn't understand. Why couldn't Shi Hong understand such a simple question? Self-preservation? Why? Was it so hard to imagine? The Celestial Lion Overlord and his entourage left Planet Een. The Fire God didn't even bother to look at them and returned to his seat. Milky Way Lord. This Junior is here. I know that just now. The Fire God had been about to say it in front of everyone, but halfway through, he suddenly switched to transmission. Given the Fire God's strength, no one could understand his transmission. The only thing they could see was Yi Zichen's expression changing dramatically. In the end, he gaped at the Fire God, as if he'd forgotten to breathe. Your marriage with Xiaoyu. Wait until you return from the ancestral dragon clan. Or, if you think it's too early, an engagement is also fine. That's what I need to remind you of. The Bai clan will not become the Milky Way galaxy's ally. You must know this. Yes, Senior. Yi Zichen nodded. Hua Jianro, the flame rat, and the others' eyes widened in shock. They were about to get engaged, but they still couldn't become allies. However, when he heard Yi Zichen's response, Lord Fire God laughed. You guys can leave now. I can't say much about the ancestral dragon clan. Take care of your safety and pay attention to the people around you. As soon as he finished his words, Lord Vulcan waved his hand. It was as if he had teleported. By the time they came to their senses, Yi Zichen and the others had already arrived at the Bai clan's docking area. What astonishing attainments in space! Winnie stared at the scene in front of her in astonishment. She recalled how the Fire God had swung his arm. As expected of an utmost being. I'm afraid that even the overlords who specialize in the control of space are no match for this level of attainment in space. Yi Zichen. Hua Jianro chuckled as she charged forward and punched him on the shoulder. Not bad, you dare to go against so many overlords. Hey, tell me the truth. Is what you said true? What? That's what you said in front of the Fire God, your feelings for our Xiaoyu. The Flame Rat and Meng Luo were also interested in gossiping. They simply waited for Yi Zichen's reply. That was just a temporary measure, said Bai Yu before Yi Zichen could speak. Before Yi Zichen could speak, Bai Yu spoke up first. I sent Yi Zichen a transmission to tell him to pretend. Just now, he saw the situation change and changed his mind. I see. Meng Luo nodded. Milky Way Lord, thank you so much. Bai Yu thanked Yi Zichen earnestly. You're welcome. We're all on the same side. Yi Zichen grinned, but his gaze was unusually solemn. Su Lua frowned for a moment, then wordlessly boarded the warship's cabin. When he saw that she'd left without so much as a transmission, Yi Zichen's heart sank. His sister-in-law's combat prowess was off the charts, and she was also exceptionally intelligent. She'd probably sensed that something was off. She probably resented him. Let's go. Let's head to the cabin. We can't delay our journey to the ancestral dragon clan. Yi Zichen smiled at them, then boarded the ship as well. The others followed behind. After Meng Luo and the Flame Rat entered the warship, they looked around. Great deity, your warship is no good. It definitely can't compare to yours, said Yi Zichen with a smile. Hua Jianro walked up to him again. Hey Yizi, tell me, what did Uncle Fire God say to you just now? He told us to be careful of Shi Hong too. Him? Said Hua Jianro disdainfully. It's fine. When we get to the ancestral dragon clan, we'll be there. He won't dare cause any trouble. I know. You guys go rest. Yi Zichen saw that Hua Jianro and the others weren't in the mood to rest. He glanced at Su Luer, who was standing at the edge of the cabin. After a moment's hesitation, Yi Zichen walked up to her. Big Sister Luer, how can you face my little sister? Su Luer frowned. I didn't do anything. Didn't Bai Yu clarify things for me just now? Yi Zichen feigned confusion. Clarify? What's the point of her clarifying things? Su Luer looked coldly at Yi Zichen, her eyes flashing. What did the fire god say to you? Nothing much. He probably said that he knows you were just pretending, and that he won't expose you for his daughter's sake. But since you said it, I hope you can do as you said. The marriage between you and Bai Yu is set in stone, right? Yi Zichen stared at her in shock for a long time, not knowing what to say. Everything, almost word for word. You? So, how are you going to explain this to my little sister? Su Luer let out a deep sigh. It's fine with me. Have you thought about my little sister? I didn't think it would turn out like this either. Yi Zichen replied. His original intention was to help Bai Yu with the marriage, but who knew that the fire god would insist on making the best of a mistake, and even use the Milky Way as a threat. To be honest, the fire god was being a bit unreasonable. No need to pretend to be innocent. You actually know very well why he did this. Su Luer squinted her eyes. Su Luer narrowed her eyes. I know why you're doing this, and I understand. If you explain it to my little sister, she will understand, but what you can't explain is that Bai Yu truly has feelings for you. I can tell. My little sister can definitely tell as well. Yes. Yi Zichen didn't retort. You can accept this marriage out of good intentions, and my little sister might be able to accept it as well, but do you think this is fair to Bai Yu? Or should I ask you this? Do you really like her a bit? Chapter 2680. This was a soul-piercing question. Yi Zichen tilted his head and snuck a glance at Bai Yu, who'd already immersed himself in cultivation. That girl is absolutely beautiful. She's the most beautiful person I've ever seen. Don't you men all like pretty girls? Su Luer sent him another transmission. Yi Zichen knitted his brows and took a deep breath. When it came to looks, Bai Yu was naturally flawless. Even Su Luer had to admit that, even in the nine-tailed fox clan, she was the most beautiful. But as for liking her, Yi Zichen asked himself. He really didn't. No. After a long silence, Yi Zichen mulled it over for a long time. My feelings for Bai Yu are pure friendship. As for everything else, you might not believe me, but I don't have the energy to flirt. Ever since he'd entered the cosmos, Yi Zichen's nerves had been stretched taut. All he could think about was increasing his strength and ensuring the safety of the Milky Way galaxy. He had no time for romance. That was too extravagant. If he had the time, he'd rather go to the second universe and hunt some vicious beasts to earn some money and equip the Milky Way galaxy. Then Bai Yu will be the one to get hurt. Things will eventually sort themselves out. Once we return from the ancestral dragon clan, the fire god might not insist on it anymore. Yi Zichen smiled in relief. How unlikely. Su Luer dampened his spirits. Big Sister Luer, can't you at least keep me awake? You're really giving me a lot of pressure. I just don't like dreaming. Fine. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly and sat on the ground, looking out at the vast cosmos. How unlikely. Had the fire god's identity as a supreme expert really been accidentally revealed? Obviously not. If he really didn't want others to know, he could have intercepted that person's words so that no one else in the alleyway would hear. Since others could hear, that meant he wanted them to know. What was his reason for doing this? He wanted the Heavenly Lion Overlord to inform Star Lord Songyue, or perhaps all the other supreme experts. He wanted them to know that the Bai clan had a supreme expert as well, so he could protect himself. That's right. Yi Zichen believed this was a way to protect himself. The reason why he was so convinced was that the Lord Fire God had said something seemingly unintentional. In the future, the Bai family would not participate in the internal struggles of the human race. The Bai clan would guard the outer realms. The Bai family was a distinguished family of the universe. The tilt of this family would have great implications, and it was very likely that it would shake some kind of balance scale. Right now, on the surface, it looked like a confrontation between the Virtual World Corporation and the Archmoon Galaxy. Actually, don't forget that there was still the Paragon Association. It was still uncertain whether the future human race universe would form a tripartite balance. If the Bai family announced that they would join a certain side, do you think the other two parties are afraid? No. No matter how powerful the Bai family was, it was still just a family. In the eyes of the Tsangyue Galaxy, the Virtual World Group, and the Supremes Association, it was just a chess piece that was heavier than the others. The heavy chess piece naturally received a lot of attention. No matter who he joined, he would be attacked by the other two parties. They had to get rid of this chess piece that could shake the chessboard. Crush him to death. If they stayed in the human race, they would be exterminated because no one was willing to leave behind such a potential threat. If they joined any side, they would be exterminated, because if they were to really make a move against them, it would be a fight between two families. If the Bai family joined the Virtual World Group, then the Tsangyue Galaxy could join forces with the Supremes Association. One side would suppress the Virtual World Group, and the other side would attack the Bai family. The Bai family wouldn't be able to stop them. It could be said that it would be safer for him to join the Supremes Association. Because no matter what, the Supremes Association was still the highest authority of the human race. If the Bai family joined, anyone who attacked him would have no reason to do so. However, the Supremes Association's strength was too weak compared to the Tsangyue Galaxy and the Virtual World Group. The Supremes Association would eventually be destroyed. The Bai family would also be exterminated. The only way to protect himself was to head to the outer region and guard the outer region. No matter what happened internally, the Bai family would act as if they were guarding the gate. No one would kill the guards during an internal conflict. And to prevent such a thing from happening, the Fire God specially mentioned that he had broken through to the Supremes. This was a warning to everyone, that the Bai family was guarding the outer region. Don't provoke me. The Bai family didn't want to care about the grudges between you, but if you want to touch my family, I won't let you off easily. That was the Fire God's message. Furthermore, the Fire God mentioned that he wouldn't ally with Yi Zichen for the same reason. In the future, the universes would merge. When the universes merged, the human race of the second universe would join in as well. The human race's internal situation would become even more chaotic. As for why he said he couldn't ally with the Milky Way, because the Virtual World Group was an ally. That was something the entire universe knew. If he allied with the Milky Way, that would mean he joined the Virtual World Group. That was why he couldn't do that. The Bai family, they didn't need to ally with anyone. Just having an ally would raise suspicions. All they had to do was guard the outer region. But judging from the Fire God's decision, he'd rather face the outsiders than the internal strife of the human race. It was easy to imagine that in his eyes, the future internal strife of the human race would be even more terrifying than the outsiders. If he wasn't truly at his wit's end, how could he possibly announce that his entire family was going to guard the outer region? The outer region. Once upon a time, only the exiled clans of the human race would go there. By standing guard there, they could make up for their mistakes. Only then could they return to the human race. But even after all this time, not a single family had returned alive from defending the outer region. Even so, he'd still chosen to go to the outer region. Perhaps the Fire God was thinking the same thing. He'd rely on his supreme strength to guard the battlefield, and his family would be safe under his protection. Once the human race's internal strife was over, then he could bring his people back. At that time, he'd return in triumph. The victorious side wouldn't attack the heroic family guarding the outer region. He believed that in the human universe, the leaders of quite a few clans had considered this. However, only the Bai family had truly made this decision. That was because the fire god was a supreme expert. He had the confidence. As for the other clans, no matter how large they were, he had to make a choice. This was a game of foresight. Who won and who lost? Winner takes all. Everyone knew that participating in the war meant certain death, but they had to give hope. Who knew? Maybe they'd survive in the end? Even if the chances were slim. The ones who suffered the most were the smaller clans. They didn't even have the right to choose. This was the current state of the human race. The Bai family's fire god had done everything. Everything. For the sake of the clan. Chapter 2681. That was the fire god's decision. Whether it was revealing his identity as a supreme expert or leading his clan to the outside, Yi Zichen could understand. Yi Zichen could understand. He felt like he'd done the right thing, and that it was a very wise decision. Only his final voice transmission remained. He'd practically coerced Bai Yu into marrying off to the Milky Way even though he knew that everything he'd said was all an act. Why? If the Milky Way had to protect Bai Yu, Yi Zichen wouldn't have refused. Even without the marriage. He was willing to sacrifice his life for his best friend. The fire god should have known this. He'd saved Bai Yu multiple times already, purely as a friend. He had no other intentions. Lu Erjie, do you know why? What do you think? Su Lu seemed to understand what Yi Zichen was asking. Did you not understand the situation back in the alley? Bai Yu's third uncle. Yes. If Bai Yu doesn't get married, he'll kill her? I think it's possible. Su Lu stretched lazily in the cabin. Su Lu stood in the cabin and stretched lazily. In other words, I will absolutely kill her. Bai Yu's father probably did this for his daughter's safety. If the fire god knew, why didn't he keep her third uncle in check? How? Su Lu smiled. You're looking at it from a bystander's point of view, so you naturally feel like the fire god is being too lenient. Let me ask you this. If the Milky Way's Shang dynasty and the great sage want to pave the way for their children, and your daughter is their stumbling block, they either have to marry off or kill her. What would you choose? This. Yi Zichen looked into Su Lu's eyes. He'd never considered this question, because he knew very well that the great sage and the others weren't like that. But if all of this was true, if he put himself in their shoes, he really wouldn't be able to do anything to the great sage. See? You're hesitating too. The fire god is your current state of mind. That's his little brother, he can't kill him. It's not like he can let his own daughter die. That's the only way. That way, Bai Yu's third uncle won't have to worry about anything. When he heard her reply, Yi Zichen looked at her in silence, his heart filled with shock. Su Lu. Her thoughts were far too meticulous. In just a short while, she seemed to have analyzed the internal struggles of the Bai family. This also included the thoughts of Fire God and Third Uncle Bai Yu. After all, she didn't know that Third Uncle Bai Yu's actions were to pave the way for her son. Yi Zichen also found out from Hua Jianro. If she hadn't said it, Yi Zichen might not have thought about it so deeply. Why are you looking at me like that? Su Lu frowned. Big sis Lu. Yi Zichen gave her a thumbs up. I'm impressed. It's not a big deal. You've only been the leader for a short period of time. I've been the leader for thousands of years. I've seen a lot, so I know a lot. Su Lu's eyes flashed coldly. Frankly speaking, the universe is just a slightly larger Milky Way galaxy. The way people conduct themselves, the way they do things, the way they scheme against each other, they're pretty much the same. Essence. Yi Zichen could sense that as well. What's more, he felt like the schemes on Earth were sometimes even more complicated than in the universe. More calculations, more plots, and more schemes. I'm going to cultivate. Think about Bai Yu's problem yourself. I don't have to tell my little sister, but you have to think of a way to solve it. With that, Su Luer sat down on the ground. Yi Zichen looked out of the cabin with exhaustion in his eyes. Solve it? That was easy to say, but hard to do. If only he was a cold-hearted person, then he wouldn't be so troubled by these problems. At the same time, Planet Yin's by clan, the departure of the Heavenly Lion Overlord and Milky Way Lord caused the previously bustling alleyway to become much quieter. Bai Yu's mother stood in front of the alleyway. She looked up at the sky, as if she could still see Bai Yu's shadow, even though Yi Zichen's warship was already several hundred light-years away. Bai Lin, will we be able to see you again? The woman stood in the alley and whispered. Fire God sighed and walked up to her and patted her on the shoulder. They will. They're still coming back to get engaged. We'll still be able to see each other then. Of course, it's hard to say if we're already gone. That's right. The woman sighed and turned around to look at third Uncle Bai Yu, who was sitting in his seat. This was her brother-in-law. In the past, she'd always been polite to the Bai clan, but today, when she looked at third Uncle Bai Yu, there was a hint of hatred in her eyes. They were all smart people. How could she not know why all of this had happened today, and who was the cause of it all? Let's go back. It just so happens that I have some things to discuss with third brother. Don't stay here. There's also great desert. Humph. The brawny man snorted angrily. He glared viciously at third Uncle Bai Yu, then waved his hand and left with the woman. Only third Uncle Bai Yu and Fire God were left in the alley. Bai Mu. Big brother. Third Uncle Bai Yu slowly stood up, a hint of fear in his eyes. Fire God walked directly in front of him, a complicated look in his eyes. Are you satisfied now? Big brother Let me ask you, are you satisfied now? Fire God's eyes were filled with helplessness. Is the position of clan leader really that important to you? You also know that we will go to outer domain. Do you really have to give this position to your son? I didn't do anything wrong. Bai Mu sternly said. Don't you know that I can kill you right now? Fire God's body was burning with flames. Bai Mu slowly raised his head, his eyes burning with sparks. I believe. From the moment Big Brother took over the clan, I believed that you could always kill me, at any time. Bai Mu, let me tell you. This position of clan leader was originally going to be given to your son. Why did you have to do everything to this extent? Fire God's voice was filled with anger. He glared at Bai Mu, his chest slightly trembling. Bai Yu is not suitable to be clan leader. I know this very well, but the majority of the clan supports her. Bai Mu did not hide anything. I have to clear the obstacles for my son. You don't mind killing my daughter? Bai Lin shouted. Yes. Hearing this reply, Fire God's hand inexplicably trembled. Now that Bai Yu has already married far away, you should be satisfied. In the future, she will be the wife of a Milky Way Lord, and will no longer have the qualifications to inherit Bai clan. You have your wish fulfilled. Recall all the people you secretly sent. I can guarantee you that the position of clan leader will belong to your son. Let go of my daughter, I can't bear to kill you. Take care of yourself. Chapter 2682. In the blink of an eye. It had already been 3 months since they left the Bai clan of planet Yin. During that time, their journey had been very smooth. There had been no sudden incidents. Even when they encountered spaceships, they would avoid them when they were far away. Thus, the Bai clan's matters came to an end. As for the engagement, that wasn't something he should be thinking about. Things would eventually sort themselves out. Ha ha ha, it's fine. If you hadn't come looking for me, I would have tried to talk to you about it. There are a lot of family matters I have to deal with. If I really go with you to the ancestral dragon clan, it really won't be very convenient. In the projection, Steelbar was smiling in an honest manner. Beside him were the 2 sisters, Bai Yu and Bai Yin. It seemed like thanks to the little fatty's tireless efforts, the Steelbar family had already accepted Bai Yin. She had also begun to manage some of the family's internal affairs. It was just a pity. In truth, Yi Zichen quite admired Bei Yin. Back when she was his butler, although she was still very young, Yi Zichen rather liked her style of doing things. If it weren't for the fact that Steel Bar had designs on Bei Yin, Yi Zichen really did want to take her back to the Milky Way and have her manage the Milky Way's internal affairs with Yin Shang. He believed that she definitely wouldn't disappoint him. As for Bei Yu, she naturally wanted to follow her older sister. She had originally wanted to come to the Milky Way, but there were far too many unsettling factors. Yi Zichen hoped that she could stay with the Steel Bar family. No matter what. In the universe, the Steel family could be considered a first-rate family power. If Bei Yu stayed there, she would be safe. She would also be able to receive a better education. Big Brother Zichen, I'm in the cosmic system level now. Bei Yu waved towards Yi Zichen in the projection, and reported her recent situation. Not bad. To be able to break through from the domain level to the cosmic system level in 10-odd years, and as a member of the Shell clan at that, Yi Zichen could tell that she had worked very hard. Otherwise, her strength couldn't have increased by leaps and bounds. Study well with Steel Bar. When I return from the ancestral dragon clan, I'll give you a present. What present? Bei Yu asked in confusion. You'll know when I return, Yi Zichen smiled. But there's a condition for this gift. You have to be at least above the warlord level. This gift was the one Yi Zichen had bought a while ago. Planet Shell. In order to buy this life star, Yi Zichen had paid a hefty price. His original intention was to buy it for Bei Yu. If Bei Yu wasn't strong enough, she wouldn't be qualified to manage this life star. Even if he gave it to her, it might be snatched back by those galactic pirates. Therefore, Shell Star is now under the jurisdiction of the Milky Way. Of course, it was a happy thing to receive a gift. However, Bei Yu was stunned when she heard that he had to reach the warlord level. Warrior level. She was only at the star system level 1, and was still far from the universe level. Moreover, there had never been any news of anyone breaking through to become a warlord on the Shell planet. To be able to reach the universe level was already very impressive. It was all for Big Brother Zichen's good intentions. She decided to give it a try. I definitely won't disappoint Big Brother Zichen. Bei Yu wrinkled her nose. Bei Yu wrinkled her nose while Bei Li's voice sounded in Yi Zichen's ears. We're at the energy resupply point in front of us. We need to replenish ourselves, otherwise, we won't be able to reach the ancestral dragon clan's coordinates with our current energy reserves. Alright. Yi Zichen nodded, then waved at the projection. I have to go resupply. Let's talk about it when we have time. Big Brother Zichen, be careful. Yi, be careful. Mr. Yi will be waiting for you. Yi Zichen couldn't help but grin when he saw the solemn atmosphere in the projection. You guys. Why do you make it sound like we're going to part forever? I'm going to get some experience. Be careful when I come back. I might have already broken through to the overlord level. Keep bragging. Steel Bar looked at him in disdain. How could it be so easy to break through to the overlord level? However, in his heart, he truly hoped that Yi Zichen would return as an overlord. We'll be waiting for you. Bei Yin and I might be getting married by the time you come back. You have to attend. Don't worry, I'll definitely be there. Yi Zichen smiled. The projection ended. Yi Zichen's smile also faded. To be honest, he wasn't too sure what would happen if he went to the ancestral dragon clan. He probably wouldn't die. Otherwise, Meng Luo and the other seniors wouldn't let them go. I'm sure they all know about the ancestral dragon clan. Who were those people just now? Hua Jianro walked over with curiosity in her eyes. I didn't expect you to know so many people in the universe. Reserve teammates. It's just that I can't go and pick them up because of the time. Yi Zichen shrugged, then tilted his head at Bei Li. How much longer until we get to the resupply area? 30 minutes, Bei Li gave an accurate answer. Yi Zichen nodded, that's fine. We'll go to the spatial resupply station later to resupply. I'm sure you're all tired after traveling in the universe for so long. If you're interested, we can go out for a walk. Okay. Meng Luo was the first to cheer. Previously, they were trapped on planet Een and couldn't go to other galaxies. However, planet Een was huge, so it wasn't that boring. Now that they could finally leave planet Een. Who would have thought that they'd have to sit in the warship every day? She imagined the journey to be filled with danger. It would be best if they could meet some space pirates or war criminals and fight them. Or if they found some treasure and many people would go and fight for it. That kind of journey was more interesting. But there was nothing. If it wasn't for the virtual network in the warship and the occasional trip to the second universe, Meng Luo might have been bored to death. Great my ass! Hua Jianrou patted Meng Luo's head. The spatial resupply station is a space station. What do you think it is? There's nothing to see even if we get out. Meng Luo was stunned. She instantly sat on the floor like a frosted eggplant and whined, I don't want to. I don't want it. I want to go on an adventure. I don't want to sit here every day. You'll come after we go to the ancestral dragon clan. Yi Zichen rubbed her head with a smile. Yi Zichen caressed her head with a chuckle. Endure it for a bit longer. When we get there, you might not want to take the risk, but we'll have to bite the bullet. How much longer? Meng Luo pouted. Very soon. Just as they were speaking, they could see a huge space supply station floating in space within their line of sight. All right, get ready to resupply. Get ready to get down. Chapter 2683. Kanna Universe Country. Space Supply Station 367. The main purpose of this space supply station was to supply energy to battleships and spaceships on long-distance voyages. Due to its special location, adjacent to 6 universe countries, this was a large space supply depot that could accommodate 30,000 ships simultaneously. There were also people living in the space station. Because working in the space station was not as convenient as working on a life star, the family members of the space station would also live in the space station. Fortunately, the space station was huge. Although it couldn't be compared to a life star, it could accommodate hundreds of thousands of people. Hello, we need to replenish our energy. When he arrived at the reception desk, he saw a blue-skinned middle-aged man with horns on his head. What spaceship? Model 477 Interstellar Battleship. Battleship? The middle-aged man tilted his head and glanced at it. Then you might have to wait for a while. The battleship's fuel just ran out 3 days ago. Our transport personnel have already gone to Resource Planet to transport it. How long? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. He should be back soon. If you need, you can get a number plate from me now. The middle-aged man replied. Bailey? We're a battleship's energy supply. There aren't many space stations that provide battleship resupply services. Bailey's fingers tapped in the air. It'll take about a month to get there, and we'll have to deviate from our normal route. Sir, do you need it? The uncle asked. Okay, please give me your number. The middle-aged uncle smiled as he placed an energy crystal on the service counter. This is your serial number. While you're waiting, you can walk around our space station. We have many delicacies here that you might not have tasted in your original universe country. You can try them. Delicacy. Meng Luo's eyes immediately lit up. Okay, thank you. After putting away the serial number, Meng Luo started yelling. Gourmet food is fine, there is gourmet food. Almighty, I want to take a look. Why are you so happy? Yi Zichen caressed her head. Go. Be careful, I'll wait for you guys in the resting area. Almighty, aren't you going? I'm not going. All right. Meng Luo ran out excitedly, followed by the flame rat and Hua Jianrou. Winnie, follow them. All right. Resting area of the space supply station. As the largest space supply depot in Kanna Universe Country, it also had the largest flow of people. People from all over the universe could be seen here all year round. Of course, they all looked different. In less than 5 minutes, Yi Zichen saw pretty much all of their skin and hair colors. Yi Zichen and company sat on the benches in the resting area. Actually, the place provided lodging as well, but they didn't come here to rest. If it wasn't for the fact that there were no energy reserves, they wouldn't have stayed here in the first place. From where they were, they could clearly see Meng Luo and the others shuttling back and forth between the delicacies outside the resting area. So this is also considered a human. Yi Zichen saw that it was over 6 meters tall, like a giant. Its head was covered in moss, and it didn't have a head. In short, it looked a bit like Xingtian. There was an eyeball the size of a fist at its heart. Born with 4 legs, 6 hands. This is the instrument race at the border of your human race universe. What you saw just now was probably at the warlord level. Bell replied. How could you tell? Watch my hand. Bailey replied. They have 2 hands in their domain stage. Every time they break through a major stage, they will have an extra arm. Don't think that they don't have arms. These fellows' arms can be detached from their bodies to fight. What? Separate from the body? Actually, they belong to a branch of the mech race. Every part of their bodies is an assembled weapon. When they are born, they only have 1 life core. Bailey explained, when the mechanical race betrayed the human race, they chose to support the human race, which was why they were recognized by the human race. Is his entire body a weapon? Yi Zichen exclaimed. It's even a destructive thermal weapon. Bailey laid on Yi Zichen's shoulder and pointed at the weapon race giant. Look at how big he is right now. His body might be filled with F-grade explosive. Are you serious? Yi Zichen was shocked. Then, when the giant from the Weapon League sat down in the resting area, the humans from the other clans subconsciously made way for him. No one dared to come within 100 meters of him. Their eyes were filled with fear. Do you think I'm talking about a human-shaped self-destruct device for nothing? Bailey muttered. I'm telling you, the space stations aren't really willing to receive people from the weapon race. I understand that. A large amount of energy was stored in a space supply station, just like a gas station on Earth. You can't even light a cigarette near a gas station. If you do, boom, don't even live. This weapon race giant was a mobile and unstable self-destruct device. If he self-destructed here, the entire space station, including the neighboring life planets, would be affected. In other words, everyone's lives were in the hands of this weapon race giant. As expected, when they saw someone from the weapon race, the humans who were resting in the resting area all started to leave. Spaceships flew out of the space station as if they were fleeing for their lives. The workers of the space station, they all jogged over to ask about the weapon race's needs, and did their best to satisfy any request. Should we leave? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Up to you, Bailey shrugged. Bailey shrugged. Leaving right now is indeed a reasonable choice. But if we leave, we'll have to deviate from our flight path to another space station to resupply. That might waste some time. He probably won't self-destruct, right? Yi Zichen muttered. I don't think so. Bailey wasn't too sure either. Who can say for sure? But if he chooses to self-destruct, he'll die anyway. What's more, there's only been one instance of a weapon race member self-destructing in a space station. It really happened. Yeah, Bailey nodded. That weapon race member did it for revenge. Back then, there were enemies in the space station who killed his daughter and stole her life core. Then he self-destructed. Yeah. How many people died? Not too many, Bailey shook his head. I heard that before he self-destructed, he notified everyone else, leaving only the group of war criminals alive. So he's rather kind-hearted. People from the weapon race are rather kind-hearted. If you don't truly piss them off, they won't do anything too out of line, Bailey shrugged. Actually, it's the same for us machines. It's just that you humans have been harassing us and feeling like we're a threat. Otherwise, we wouldn't have betrayed you back then. What's the point of saying all this now? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. Just pray that this big bro of the weapon race is a rational person and lets us replenish our energy in peace before we leave. Then everything will be fine. Chapter 2684. With this ticking time bomb. Although Yi Zichen pretended to be relaxed, he couldn't help but glance at him from time to time. He really had no choice. Kanai's space station was a large-scale space energy supply station. The energy reserves here were in the hundreds of trillions of tons. That was an enormous amount of energy. If it exploded, not even dukes could withstand it. Aylin tilted her head and glanced at Yi Zichen, her eyes filled with inquiry. If I blow you up, can you withstand it? Asked Yi Zichen. Aylin furrowed her brows. She seemed to be considering this question. After about half a minute, she frowned and shook her head. Even you can't withstand it. Yi Zichen sighed. Even dukes couldn't withstand it. People like them, who hadn't even reached the titled level, would be blown to smithereens? It was no wonder that everyone here was in danger. Or else they were scrambling to get out. No matter what the artifact race thought, this sort of potential threat was terrifying. Keep an eye on him. I'm fine. Suddenly, 2 words came out of Aylin's mouth. He's safe. Is that so? This time, Yi Zichen understood what Aylin was trying to say. She'd gotten to the point. He guessed that she could sense whether or not this artifact race person had ill intentions. Great deity, we're back. At that moment, Meng Luo ran back with a pile of food in her hands. Yi Zichen was dumbfounded. It looked a bit like Earth's barbecue, except the ones here were a bit too big. Everyone said that Earth's barbecue was the best in the Northeast. They were all big skewers, but compared to this place, they paled in comparison. An entire octopus. There were over a dozen claws. There were even some animals' legs that the flame rat had to use both hands to grab. They're all this big? Exclaimed Yi Zichen. Great deity, this is delicious. Have a bite. Meng Luo extended the octopus in front of Yi Zichen. When he saw the tentacles, Yi Zichen couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. I'll pass. Do you want that ice woman? Meng Luo extended the octopus in front of Su Luer. When she saw this, Su Luer seemed somewhat surprised. Their relationship hadn't been particularly harmonious since they first met. She didn't expect that Meng Luo would still give it to her. Do you want it? I'll buy yours too. Try it, it's really delicious. All right. Su Luer reached out and caught the octopus. Meng Luo's eyes widened in anticipation as she bit into it. The moment the octopus meat entered her mouth, she froze. How is it? Is the fried chicken delicious? It's really not bad. Su Luer nodded, then looked at the octopus on the skewer. What kind of meat is this? There's cosmic energy in it. I don't know. It's fine as long as it's delicious. Meng Luo smiled and took a big bite of the octopus on the skewer. I have more here. I bought them all for you. The food Meng Luo took out from the dimensional storage device she carried with her could pile up into a small hill. Fortunately, the rest area was spacious enough. Even though it took up a lot of space, it did not affect other people's walking. Come and give it a try, Meng Luo said with a smile. All right. Seeing that Su Luer and Meng Luo's relationship seemed to have changed, Yi Zichen smiled. The aroma of food quickly spread throughout the rest area. Many people looked in their direction, including the expert from the device clan. The artifact race. Winnie was also startled at this moment. Why is there an artifact race? What's that big guy doing? I've never seen a human like him before. Meng Luo bit into the meat and muttered. He's from the artifact race. Winnie replied. Oh, there's also the artifact race. Does he have anything to do with the Artifact Alliance? No. Winnie shook her head. Miss, it's best if you don't pay too much attention to him. The artifact race is a very dangerous race. At that moment, a staff member walked over and reminded Yi Zichen kindly. But he looks like he's very dangerous. Meng Luo tilted her head and looked at the giant sitting by himself in the rest area. There was no one within 100 meters of him. Even if someone wanted to pass by, they would take a long way around him. It was as if he was the only one in the rest area. Meng Luo pursed her lips, then looked at the mountain of food on the ground and rolled her eyes. Hey! Meng Luo waved at the artifact race member. Everyone looked at Meng Luo in shock. There were truly too few people who dared to take the initiative to greet the artifact race. Miss, he's very dangerous. The staff member reminded her again. Not at all. Meng Luo tilted her head in confusion. I can feel that he's a very kind person. Why do you say that he's dangerous? He's from the artifact race. What about the artifact race? Meng Luo raised her head with a displeased look on her face. My mother taught me not to look at any race differently since I was very young. As long as they live in the human universe, they belong to the human race. As long as they belong to the human race, then everyone is equal. But he's from the artifact race. Does he belong to the human race? Meng Luo argued. You people are so interesting. The artifact race offended you, so why do you reject him? I want to call him over, and I want to share my food with him. Are you going to control me? We don't have the right to control our customers. Then don't mind me. Meng Luo wrinkled her nose, then looked at Yi Zichen. Great deity, can I invite him over? Yi Zichen looked at Winnie and Alan. Winnie's gaze was somewhat hesitant, but she didn't seem to object too much. Alan nodded in agreement. What do you guys think? I don't care, Hua Jinro burped. In any case, I can't eat anymore. If he's willing to come, that's great. I spent over 6 million universe credits to buy all this. I'm fine with it. Bai Yu muttered. Up to you. Su Lua replied. The flame rat acted as if it didn't know anything and continued to compete with the thigh it could only hug with 2 hands. None of them objected. Although Yi Zichen was rather worried, he still smiled and nodded. Sure. Sir, he's from the artifact race. The staff member reminded them. It's fine, Yi Zichen smiled. If you have time, why don't you go and take a look at when the warship's fuel can be transported back? We're in a hurry. I know, right? Meng Luo wrinkled her nose, then smiled and waved at the artifact race expert. Hey big guy. Here, here. Meng Luo waved her hands excitedly. Do you want to come and enjoy our food? It's really delicious. Do you want to come? Chapter 2685. Everyone in the lounge was stunned. They looked at Meng Luo waving her hand, then at the implement race expert, who was like a small mountain even as he sat there. Perhaps the implement race expert hadn't expected someone to wave at him, and even invite him to try some delicious food. He didn't think that was possible. He shouldn't have been the one shouting at him. He didn't even glance at him. Until... Can't you hear me? Whispered Meng Luo. Meng Luo was only 1.5 meters tall, but in front of the 6-meter-tall implement race expert, she didn't even reach his knees. Even though the implement race expert was sitting down, he still made Meng Luo seem tiny. Hey! I'm talking to you. You're so rude. Regardless of whether you're willing to come or not, you should at least give me an answer. Meng Luo slapped the implement race expert's calf. This slap almost scared the living souls out of the lounge. In that instant they felt like their hearts were on the verge of freezing. Slapping the implement race expert's calf. Wasn't she afraid the implement race expert would explode? Although everyone knew that wasn't very likely, they didn't dare touch the implement race expert. Who knew where they'd set up the self-destruct mechanism? Forget touching him, they didn't even dare see him move. They were all afraid. Hey, little girl, do you want to die? Shouted someone in the lounge. Hurry up and get away from that implement race expert. Also, don't make such a ruckus. Even if you want to die, we haven't lived long enough. Who are you? Meng Luo frowned at the yelling human. You're really noisy. You stinking brat, how dare you talk back? Before the human could even finish speaking, An icicle fell 10 centimeters in front of him. Using ice. There was only one person in Yi Zichen's group. Su Lu'er. Ice woman, you're a good friend. Meng Luo giggled and waved. Next time, I'll treat you to even better food. Su Lu'er didn't reply. She lowered her head and continued to savor her food. Warrior level? You're seeking death. The human who'd been frightened by the icicle was a commander-level expert. When he saw that Su Lu'er, a mere warlord, had dared meddle in his business, he glared at her. My big sister's temper isn't very good, sorry. I'll apologize to her. As the commander-in-chief approached, Yi Zichen smiled and nodded. And my little sister? She's just a little childish, and her words are a little impulsive. As a senior commander, I believe he won't be angry at the juniors. Who do you think you are? The commander-level expert glared at the smiling Yi Zichen in disdain. General, do you have the right to speak in front of the commander? Then do you have the right to speak in front of our lord? Winnie walked forward, her duke presence filling the rest of the lounge. The commander-in-chief, who had been acting domineeringly just a second ago, felt his breath catch in his throat. He stiffened his neck and looked at Winnie, who was standing behind Yi Zichen. Duke. Lord Duke, this junior doesn't know. Apologize to our lord. Winnie frowned deeply. The commander gulped and said, I'm sorry, my lord. It's fine. I hope senior won't take it to heart. No. The commander-level experts almost fled in panic. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly and glanced at Winnie. It seemed like strength was still the most important thing in this universe. Otherwise, your politeness and modesty towards others would only get you worse. Meng Luo looked away and pouted at the artifact expert. Let's go. There's a lot of food over there. It's so boring for you to just sit here. Come over to our place to play. Are you talking to me? The artifact expert transmitted. You're the one? Meng Luo raised her eyebrows. Yes. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Meng Luo shrugged. I've been calling for you for a long time. We have food over there. Are you coming? I'm from the artifact race. Yeah, it's not like we don't know. Meng Luo smiled nonchalantly. Meng Luo smiled carelessly. Let's go. Don't just sit here. Let's go to our place. Meng Luo smiled and waved at the artifact expert. The artifact expert was sitting in the rest area. After a moment of hesitation, he slowly stood up. Wow! You're so tall. Meng Luo put a hand to her forehead and looked up at the 6-meter-tall artifact expert. Our family also has people as tall as you. We just don't have anyone as strange as you. Come on, let's go over to our place. The artifact race's deterrent force was that no one dared to approach within 100 meters of him. So long as he walked past, everyone would stay far away. Come. We have a new friend. Even from afar, they could hear Meng Luo's laughter. Winnie frowned. She was very wary of this artifact race expert. Everyone said the artifact race was a human-shaped self-destruct device. Her duty was to ensure Yi Zichen's safety. She had to be absolutely vigilant against any mishaps. Everyone looked up. Only now did the flame rat stare wide-eyed at the artifact race expert. Who is he? He'd been fighting with the meat on the stick and had no idea what had just happened. Introduce yourself. Meng Luo smacked him again. Her slap tugged at the heartstrings of everyone in the space station. Sean. Everyone's ears received a voice transmission. That's a name that suits you. Hua Jianro was the first to nod. Yeah, you look really weird. Why do you have so many hands and feet? Oh yeah, I'm Hua Jianro. Bye you. Hello, Flame Rat. Su Lu'er. Su Lu'er nodded, then returned to eating the food Meng Luo had brought back. What a dense cosmic energy! She couldn't help but exclaim in her heart. Let me introduce you personally. Meng Luo walked in front of Yi Zichen. Meng Luo walked in front of Yi Zichen solemnly. This is the boss of our team, Lord of the Galaxy, Yi Zichen. Who said he's the boss? Hua Jianro glared. Hasn't the great deity always been our boss? The flame rat transmitted with his mouth full. I never admitted it, Hua Jianrou said. Then how about this? Let's vote first. Meng Luo pursed her lips. Those who agree with the great deity being the boss, raise your hand. Bai Yu, the flame rat, Meng Luo, Su Luer. All of them raised their hands. Hua Jianrou was the only one who was dumbfounded as she looked at these childhood friends who had played with her since they were young. You guys are really something. That's right. Anyone would think that the great deity is our team's boss. Only you think otherwise, Meng Luo muttered. Now that the voting results are out, the great deity will be our ancestral dragon clan's team leader from now on. Applause. Meng Luo and the flame rat clapped. Su Luer and Bai Yu weren't perverted, but Hua Jianrou was furious. Then, Shan of the artifact race suddenly transmitted. You guys are going to the ancestral dragon clan as well? Chapter 2686. In the rest area, Shan, who was sitting on the ground, had a look of shock in his eyes. Meng Luo and the others looked at him as well. Even Bai Yu and Su Luer took another look at the mountain. His words clearly meant that he was going to the ancestral dragon clan as well. You're going too? Meng Luo looked at the mountain in surprise, her face full of astonishment. That's right. Shan nodded seriously. Someone invited me. I've been waiting for him. What a coincidence. Meng Luo giggled. That's right. Shan transmitted back in a simple and honest manner. Sometimes, if you really wanted to get to know someone, you had to get to know them first. Before you got to know them, perhaps everyone felt that Shan was a dangerous existence. As a member of the Artifact clan, no one was willing to truly get to know and understand them. Meng Luo's invitation. Yi Zichen and the others saw Shan in a new light. This seemingly strange and frightening humanoid self-destruct device was actually a very simple and honest fellow. Under his seemingly fierce appearance, there was a very shy personality. When he spoke to Yi Zichen and the others, out of habit, he scratched the moss on his head. When he transmitted his voice was simple and honest, and there was even a hint of introversion hidden in it. What a pity. I can't believe you got invited. Why don't you team up with us and go to the ancestral dragon clan? Meng Luo took a bite of meat and pouted. That's right. Shan scratched his head. Actually, I want to go with you too. You're the first person in all my time in the universe willing to invite me as a guest. Everyone else seems so afraid of me that they don't even dare come into contact with me. Shan's reply was simple and honest. It was from his voice that one could tell that he was actually very depressed in his heart. No one liked being alone. Everyone wanted to make a few friends in the universe. It was precisely because of his clan that he'd lost the opportunity to interact with others. It's fine if you don't know people like that. Meng Luo wrinkled her nose. My mother told me that you need to use your heart to get to know someone, not your ears. Everyone here is afraid of you, but as soon as I saw you, I knew you weren't a bad person. Thank you. Shan's voice was filled with gratitude. Being acknowledged by others was the happiest thing for him. Meat. Do you eat it? Sorry, our race doesn't eat. Shan's tone was apologetic. Although I really want to experience it, our race absorbs the energy of the universe for sustenance. Oh, I see. Meng Luo didn't care too much about it. She knew that many clans were like this. These clans were not the human clan, nor were they the half-human clan or the demon clan. In the human universe, such a race was a very special existence. There was such a clan on planet Een. Stone Clan. They wouldn't taste human food. Instead, they would absorb earth elements to replenish their energy. She had even gone to the Stone Clan to stay for 2 days. They were all very kind. In other words, these foreign races were relatively simple and united. Very few of them liked to scheme against each other and fight for power like the human race. You're losing a lot of fun by doing this. Meng Luo muttered. Yeah, I really envy you humans. Shan did not hide the envy in his heart. Can you smell it? No, our race doesn't have a sense of taste or smell. What a pity. This meat smells really good. Meng Luo drooped her head dejectedly. She just wanted to share this with Shan, but he couldn't feel it. At this moment, Shan's smile froze. Sorry. The person who invited me is here. I need to go. Shan's eyes were filled with reluctance as he stood up. You're leaving? Meng Luo was stunned. She looked around. Where is he? He's at the docking area. His energy reserves are very sufficient. He doesn't intend to replenish himself here. Shan replied. Is that so? Be careful on your way. All right. He looked at the crowd and waved his hand twice, as if he was bidding farewell. There were many humans in the resting area in the distance. When they saw his movements, they hurriedly stood up and looked at him cautiously. Shan noticed their gazes. Shan couldn't help but reveal a bitter expression. Fortunately, he had made friends with a few humans today, especially the youngest girl. A kind, innocent, and adorable girl. Thinking of this, Shan's eyes couldn't help but reveal a smile. At this moment, the docking area's battleship door opened. You're Shan? The newcomer's tone was very arrogant and gave off a condescending feeling. Yes, Your Majesty Lion Hong. I'm sent by the Equipment Clan to follow you to the Ancestral Dragon Clan, Shan. A human-shaped self-destruct device. You won't self-destruct when you're with me, right? Lion Hong narrowed his eyes and questioned. I won't, Your Majesty. All right, your Equipment Clan highly recommended you. My father has a deep relationship with your clan leader, so there's nothing we can do. Lion Hong stood at the cabin door and waved his hand. Come up. But you better be careful. If you hurt anyone in this cabin, your clan will be exterminated. Understand? Yes, yes, yes. Shan bent his waist and bowed to Lion Hong. Bring him to the storage. I'm afraid he'll harm me in the main cabin. I really don't know why my father would let someone from this clan come. Lion Hong's eyes were filled with strong disdain. Shan silently lowered his waist. Before coming, the clan leader had told him that this majesty was the Universe Mercenary Alliance's majesty, and was even a young lady from the Sky Lion clan. The Equipment Clan had expended a lot of effort. Only then did he manage to obtain a place to travel together. When the time comes, he had to listen to Majesty and not let Majesty be unhappy. He had always kept all of this in mind. Hence, no matter what Lion Hong said, he didn't dare to say a word, even if he was thrown into the pitch-black warehouse. Dong! The warehouse door closed. In the pitch-black warehouse, Shan could only curl up his body. Meng Luo and the rest's smiles inexplicably lingered in his mind. Then he thought about Lion Hong's attitude towards him. It was really a world of difference. Not good. I forgot to ask for their contact details. Yamashita subconsciously wanted to stand up and slam the roof of the warehouse. His eyes instantly revealed panic as he sat down. Not even half a minute later, Lion Hong frowned and walked over to open the cabin door. What are you doing? Are you trying to blow me up? Majesty Lion Hong, I'm not. Shan transmitted fearfully. Lion Hong glared at him fiercely. You better behave yourself. If you dare to move again, I'll directly throw you out in space. Yes. Mountain answered carefully. Lion Hong closed the warehouse door with a thud. The light disappeared again. Shan curled up in the warehouse. Yes, they're going to the Ancestral Dragon Clan too. We'll meet again then. Inexplicably, Shan's eyes revealed a hint of a smile. After that, he curled up his body and silently waited for the day of their reunion. Chapter 2687. Sir, your warship's energy reserve has reached its peak. Kanna Space Supply Station. After 12 long hours of waiting, their warship's fuel supply finally ran out. Along the way, Bailey, as an AI, had been paying attention to the display of the energy reserve data. After confirming that the space station hadn't tampered with its energy supply, he nodded towards Yi Zichen. All right, thank you for your hard work. They didn't have much time to go to the ancestral dragon clan's territory, and there weren't many places to explore in the space station. Thus, Yi Zichen and the others boarded the spaceship and left the space station. After 3 minutes of acceleration, the warship successfully entered the dark universe. If there were no accidents, they would be traversing through the dark universe until they reached the ancestral dragon clan. They wouldn't need to replenish their energy along the way. According to Bailey's calculations, their energy reserves were sufficient to sail to their destination. "You're really cautious," Yi Zichen muttered to himself as he returned to his cabin. "There's nothing wrong with being cautious," Bailey reminded. "It's fine if they use shoddy energy, but I'm afraid that they'll add some other energy to your energy supply." That's true. Although the probability of this happening in the universe was very low. Any spaceship or battleship would be equipped with an energy detection device. If there was an unreasonable energy or an energy that exceeded the standard, the detection device would alert him. Trying to make a fuss about energy, such a method could be said to be the stupidest. Of course, there was nothing wrong with confirming the specific situation of the energy source. It was always better to be cautious, especially now that Yi Zichen was out in the open. He was sure that there were plenty of people and organizations that wanted to take action against him. Actually, Yi Zichen had envisioned this. His journey to the ancestral dragon tribe wouldn't be particularly peaceful. Training was one of the reasons, but there might be other humans with ill intentions who might attack him. This was definitely the best time for them to strike. Yi Zichen left the Milky Way with only 2 dukes. If they didn't act now, they'd wait until Yi Zichen returned to the Milky Way galaxy. That place was guarded by several supremacies, led by Venerable Spirit Phoenix. It would be very difficult to make a move again. "Great God, we're going to the ancestral dragon clan now, right?" Meng Luo puffed up her cheeks, her eyes filled with anticipation as she asked. "Yeah. Great. This boring journey was finally coming to an end. You're really looking forward to going to the ancestral dragon clan." Yi Zichen reached out his hand and rubbed her head. "Yeah." Meng Luo nodded with a smile. "When the time comes, we will also be able to see the mountain." "I will." Shan made it clear that he was invited to the ancestral dragon clan. With his strength, he was no longer a guard. As a guide and trial taker, it was inevitable that they would meet. He just didn't know if they would be friends or foes when the time came. Yi Zichen guessed that once they reached the ancestral dragon clan, they'd probably be competitors. That simple and honest artifact race member, Mountain. Her impression of him was actually quite good. If possible, it would be best if everyone could still be friends. If it was an enemy, Meng Luo, that little girl, would definitely feel very sad. The Tool clan's Mountain was actually a very big threat to them. The human-shaped self-destruct device was not just for show. He was going to self-destruct. It would be very difficult for someone of the same level to resist, but Yi Zichen didn't think he'd do anything to them. "Alright. If you want to rest, rest. If you want to cultivate, continue cultivating. Just wait until we reach the ancestral dragon clan. I'm going to the second universe to upgrade my genes as well. If the great deity is going to the second universe, then I'll go too." Meng Luo excitedly found a place to lie down, then entered the virtual network. Hua Jianro, the flame rat, and Bai Yu also entered. "Big Sister Lu, are you coming?" Yi Zichen asked before entering the virtual network. "No. Yang Jian and the others invited me earlier, but I don't think it's particularly suitable for me." Her refusal. Yi Zichen wasn't all that surprised. There were indeed people like that. For example, Emperor Hades was one of them. He wasn't particularly interested in the second universe. Compared to the second universe, the first universe seemed more suitable for him. "Then I'm going. If anything unexpected happens, Bailey can notify me." "No problem. Winnie, Aylin, I'll leave the warship to you. Thank you for your hard work." "That's what we should do." Yi Zichen entered the second universe. Yi Zichen was still in the City Lord's manor. It had been a long time since he'd last cultivated. All he did was go to instance dungeons to kill vicious beasts and obtain cosmic power. To tell the truth, compared to the first universe, where he could only rely on a single, illusory method to improve, he preferred the simplicity and directness of the second universe. As long as you killed vicious beasts, you would receive rewards. Hard work would definitely be rewarded. This was probably why so many members of the first universe liked the second universe. Many humans had stagnated in strength in the first universe, but here they saw hope. According to the data released by the Virtual World Corporation, the number of humans in the first universe who entered the second universe already amounted to 90% of the entire human race. The average number of people online was about 60%. Even so, the second universe didn't feel all that crowded. From this, it was clear that the second universe could indeed provide the first universe with enough land for humans to live in after the fusion. Most importantly, the dire beasts here could also provide God's bestowed weapons and armor, which indirectly reduced the requirement of equipment forging. It wasn't like the first universe. Not even cosmic system-level cultivators had a single piece of interstellar equipment. Most of them used low-level weapons or armor. Weapons and armor were produced. To some extent, this eased the first universe's demand for equipment. The only one affected was the Artifact Alliance. The Artifact Alliance was famous for its equipment. The second universe's massive production of divine equipment naturally affected the Artifact Alliance's production. However, the second universe's weapons benefited the entire universe, so even if the Artifact Alliance was resentful, they couldn't show it. On the contrary, it would affect their image in the eyes of the human race. However, none of this affected Yi Zichen in the slightest. The Upheaval Alliance's current growth was enough to make any human jealous. But so what? They couldn't deal with it. Yi Zichen stretched lazily, then glanced at the Upheaval Alliance's database. His lips curved into a smile. He opened the Rune Stone System. Chapter 2688. Condense. In the City Lord's mansion, a thunderous roar resounded. The experts guarding outside were frightened by this angry shout. Soon, a dignified pressure was released from the City Lord mansion. This pressure made the commander-level experts outside tremble. All of them involuntarily kneeled on the ground, their souls trembling incessantly. "Fight with me." Seeing the successful embedding of the rune stone, Yi Zichen wiped the sweat off his forehead. It was still a breakthrough of the limit gene. Yi Zichen felt like his soul was about to be torn apart when he placed the last rune stone. Fortunately, he managed to endure it. His mind was immersed in his talisman stone aperture point. At the very beginning, Yi Zichen simply thought that the inserts were just acupuncture points, which radiated genetic energy outwards to increase his overall strength. The inlay of a talisman stone would light up an acupoint. When he fully embedded all the rune stones with his general level power, and with his limit breakthrough as the endpoint, he actually felt that these lit-up acupuncture points were like a star map. For some reason, he had this misconception. Moreover, he could see that he was only at a small corner of this star chart. Strange. Yi Zichen scratched his head and didn't pay too much attention to it, then looked towards Bailey. "What do you think? How long did it take me?" "It took 1.5 months for your last rune stone to absorb and fuse with it. In total, it took 3 months and 12 days. Bailey answered. "Extreme fusion does indeed require a lot of time." Yi Zichen rubbed his nose and moved his arms. Even though he still had the strength of a general, after the rune stone system was fully embedded, he felt that he had a qualitative improvement. Whether it was his perception, the efficiency of his absorption of cosmic energy, or the circulation of his body, they had all improved by leaps and bounds. He even suspected that even a peak marquis wouldn't be able to defeat him. Furthermore, it was under the condition of a genetic breakthrough. Even he had the strength to fight. This idea was too scary. One shouldn't be too arrogant. One battle. Crush them, okay? Yi Zichen stretched lazily. Sitting for so long caused his bones to crackle like popcorn. That kind of bone-cracking sound that made one's teeth ache. Just listening to it was a kind of pleasure. The ancestral dragon clan should be arriving soon. Yi Zichen could finally let go of everything after he finished fusing with the rune stones. This was the biggest improvement he could do before he reached the ancestral dragon clan. Raiding dungeons and killing berserk beasts were too little for him. With his current realm, even if he were to grind in dungeons for several years without rest, he might not be able to make much progress. At most, he would only be able to reach a few levels. Such a minuscule increase in strength was not as practical as a genetic breakthrough. How can it be that fast? Bailey rolled his eyes. But if you insist on saying that it's fast, it's indeed fast. We've indeed walked more than half the distance. Nothing unexpected happened during this period? If I did, would you still be sitting here so calmly? You're right. For some reason, Yi Zichen let out a sigh in frustration. Seeing his expression, Bailey could not help but frown. What are you doing? Don't tell me you're hoping that something will go wrong. You should be more normal. Don't always think about those useless things. Isn't it good to reach the ancestral dragon clan safely? It's not that it's bad, it's just too strange. Yi Zichen walked out of the city lord's manor and saw the commanders kneeling on the ground. Most likely, it was the aura he'd released when he fused with the rune stones. All of you rise. Yes, city lord. The commanders climbed to their feet one after another, then looked at Yi Zichen with fear in their eyes. Earlier, there were rumors that the Upheaval Alliance's leader wasn't strong enough to be a commander. Based on the aura he'd released just now, he was at least a marquee-level expert. Go back to your work. I don't need anyone to stand guard here. You're all at least commanders. You're all the talents the Upheaval Alliance need. Go find Chicano and ask for another position. If he asks, just tell him I told him to. People like you shouldn't waste your time with me. He gently waved his hand at the commanders, and they all nodded and slowly left the city lord's mansion. Yi Zichen watched them leave, then sat down at the stone table. Bailey, do you think there are bound to be quite a few people in the universe who want to kill me? Of course. Bailey nodded matter-of-factly. Setting aside your status as a Milky Way Lord, anyone with your level of authority would run into plenty of assassination attempts. That's right. Now that was reasonable. In the human universe, you didn't necessarily have to provoke others for them to kill you. Sometimes you didn't offend anyone. They'd come to kill you anyway. Yi Zichen was a Milky Way Lord, and he had the 5 elements elemental spirits and a time elemental spirit. Furthermore, he was of the Milky Way bloodline. It made sense for him to run into assassination attempts every day. Why didn't anyone come? They looked down on him. Bailey, tell me, isn't our journey a bit too safe? It's a bit too safe. Yi Zichen knit his brows. Aside from that trial, nothing unexpected happened. I don't think it makes sense. That's true, but isn't safety good? Not good. Yi Zichen shook his head, his gaze grave. It's normal for disasters to happen one after another, and it's the same for assassinations. I refuse to believe they'll hold back and not attack me. They won't attack me, but I'm scared. I'm scared they'll touch my family. Also, there's another possibility. They might be holding back for a big one. A big one? Bailey frowned. You're overthinking things. It's possible they're worried about the people on the warship. You're not wrong. Meng Luo and the others had high statuses. Perhaps the people who tried to assassinate Yi Zichen were afraid of harming them, so they'd held back. But what about before this? Why didn't they attack? Wasn't that strange? Don't think too much about it. It's best if we can safely reach the ancestral dragon clan. Bailey was relieved. I know, but I'm still worried. I've been nervous the entire way. I'd rather they hurry up and come out now. No matter how dire the situation is, they should at least give me some peace of mind. It's been especially safe like this. I'm not used to it. At that moment, a star-level guard rushed into the city lord's manor. Your Excellency! What is it? Mr. Chicano requests your presence. He says he has something important to discuss with you in person. Something important? Thump. Yi Zichen's heart skipped a beat. It can't be related to the Milky Way, right?